Hi, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 245, I believe, somewhere around there. Nice to have you here. It's been a fantastic week here over where I live. Been mucking around with synths and all sorts of stuff. What about you guys? What have you guys been doing for the last week? Hopefully you've been pressing record and getting some tracks down. If not, maybe start this week. See how you go. If you're wondering what this stream is about, it's about synthesizers mainly, but also we talk about digital audio workstations, music technology, things like sequencers, samplers, all that sort of stuff. All the sort of gear that you can see here in my studio, and hopefully some of the gear that you see in your studio. And if there's something that you guys need a hand with, hey, this is an Ask Us Anything sort of show. So jump into the chat. The chat's live. You can ask us questions as we go. Make sure you highlight my name at Ranzee. Usually helps me because it comes up some red sort of bolded letters so I can see it. Or you could even jump on to the show as a guest, and you can jump on with Zoom and just be a video caller if you like. You can do it in your undies even if you want to, as I say every week. Maybe turn the camera off for that though. I think maybe, yeah. Anyway, join us for Zoom. Zoom is open. We would love to have you on the show. And you don't have to be on the whole show. The show usually sort of spins for about 2 hours, sometimes 3, somewhere around there. So we do have regular segments, and we also have regular guests, and we'll get stuck into those. Hello to all of you guys who are here. Noticed that a few of you popped in whilst I had the titles playing. Starting with, we'll just do a quick 2-minute sort of intro to this week because we need to get through a few things today. Daren, how's your week been, mate?
Week's been good. Last week, Sunday, I had to get a track out, so I written a track. And whilst writing the track, as Ian doesn't do, I realised that I liked my track that I was doing, which is unusual, and it needed quite a few remixes. So I'm working on a bunch of remixes that'll go out on Bandcamp. So if you haven't seen the track or heard the track, go and have a look on my YouTube channel because it's there. And yeah, there'll be remixes coming out on the Bandcamp because it's good. I like it. It's a wonky bass line which blends into a different wonky bass line and then comes back out of the wonky bass line. But yeah, there'll be a good selection of remixes coming as soon as I can. But I only written it last week, so the remixes are. I've done 3 remixes ready, so there's another one to go. Probably about 5 remixes of it. And completely different as well. So, yes, that was my week, basically.
Fantastic. I saw your track. Or heard your track.
Yes. So, yeah, well, that's, like I said, that's going to have a bunch of remixes coming on Bandcamp. Yeah. It's all free, so it doesn't matter. Oh, and I must say, thanks to Future World Machines, who bought the Life We Live 2 this week, so thank you very much. I think he's in the chat. I'm not sure.
I did see him earlier. He might have come a bit early. I think. See if he's still there anyway. Yes, he's there. There we go. Daren, don't forget to link your channel in. You do have moderator access, so do please link your channel in for those who haven't actually seen your channel. Please paste it in for us all while we're talking.
Yeah, I can't because my iPad won't do it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll get onto that for you then. All right, beautiful. We'll go over across to Andy next. Hi, Andy. How's your week been, mate?
Hey, yeah, it was fine. Recovered from the Vegas trip and had a lot of fun cruising around. My feet were killing me after walking so many miles a day, but you know, it was a lot of fun. So if you guys missed the live streams I put up, I also have some prepared videos to upload since it's streaming and stuff. Hoover Dam, we actually went down into the dam, down to the tunnels and stuff. It was pretty cool actually. So looking forward to putting that up after I have a chance to edit it. And other than that, I had a nice second episode of 6 Oscillators with Eddie yesterday. And it's this guy Steve Conrad, who I hadn't met before, but man, this guy knows more about guitars, guitar history, guitar companies than anyone I've ever talked to. So if you guys haven't seen that, it was pretty interesting. He's a font of information. So that was good, and all kinds of stuff. Maybe doing a hardware jam this weekend if I can muster. I'm still kind of recovering from the trip. But great to be here as always, so thanks.
Lovely to have you, mate. Beautiful. On to the next. Ian, how are you, mate?
Hey, thanks. Good afternoon, good day, good morning, good evening, good night. What's my week been like? I bought some stuff. Again, I bought the module for the OPC, the line module, mainly because they've come down in price a lot. It's down to, well, actually, if you buy it from Teenage Engineering direct, you can get it for 78 quid. I bought it for £81 from DV247. So that's, I haven't had much chance to play with it yet, but I've installed it and had a quick look. Got a provisional date for the house move, which is the 18th of April. Did a video review, put it out yesterday for a show that we saw on Thursday, and did a radio show on Monday. So yeah, no, it's been a good week, really.
Fantastic. Awesome. I saw your podcast. Fantastic, as always.
Thank you.
Yes, loved it. Lots of interesting tracks in there, mate. Lots of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for those who don't know, I will post Ian's YouTube channel into the chat as well, like I've been posting everyone else's today. But your podcast, I noticed, did go on your YouTube channel.
It did this time, although I think there's 3 tracks missing, mainly because of copyright issues, but most of the stuff it's just below 2 hours rather than over 2 hours. So that happens. I mean, that's why it's called because I don't call it the audio. It's called the Audio Files Radio Show, but it's down as a mix show, really, because it's not quite the full bean, shall we say?
Yeah. So I think if you want to hear the whole thing properly, it's on Podbean.
It's on Podbean. It's on Apple Music. It's not on Spotify because they take it down, probably to do with the copyright thing. It should be on other streaming platforms as well. I think it's on Amazon, but I've never checked that.
Okay.
I know we signed up to all of them.
Don't even really check Amazon ever. So
no, I don't.
I should probably do that too. Fair enough. Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on. We also have Chris here. Chris, how's your week been?
Hello. Can you hear my mic?
I can. Yes.
Oh, thank God.
But sounds a little quiet.
But like last week, you're probably too far away from your mic, or you need to pump yourself up a bit. But if you do pump yourself up, you may find it too reverby. Let me have a look at your levels.
How about that?
I think that's definitely a little bit better.
Okay, but I need to speak up loudly.
Yeah.
Anyway. So how's my week been? Well, I just ordered some writing or power connectors for that rack brute I was talking about last week, as well as some sample connectors to test in my cable monster for compatibility. That's an important thing to do. I've been playing with which thing? I've been playing with this thing. Oh, yeah, that thing that. What have I been playing with? Yes, I've been playing with the feedback modules, VCZ3 oscillator, and I'm liking what I'm hearing. I can talk more about that later on in the show, though, if we want to hear it. We can even hear it. Excellent.
We'll demo it later. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sounds awesome. And what else have I done? I've been doing a lot of work on with video effects this week because I've been getting ready to do the music video for that track I previewed last week. Going down the deep rabbit hole of video effects, including I've even started looking at OFX, which is an OpenFX plugin programming thing for writing your own video effects, which I would dream of doing one day. So nice. I had a bit of a look at that, bit of a deep dive on that, because it's C and C++, so it's right up my alley. So I thought, better do that. Better find out a bit more about it. It's going to be a time sink if I get involved in that, but I always try to make sure I do a bit of music. So I did a bit of music today with the oscillator, just mucking about with it, getting a few things I can demo, so I can tell you more about it later on. And that's pretty much been my week.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Now we'll go across to the chatties and say... Sorry? Someone wanted to say something?
I was just going to say, what's your week been like, Ranz?
My week's been good, thank you. Yes. We'll get to me a bit later though, because I want to kind of get through the main people. Chatties time. Hi everyone. Hi. Participants. We have a list of participants starting with alphabetical order. I think this is Bert AZO Head. Nice to have you, and Steve Cresshead's there. Culture of Ghosts. Future World of Machines, as we mentioned before. I think he was the first. He gets to wear the Guernsey this week. We also have Half God, Half Beast. He's there. Big hello to you. Exorb. Big hello to you as well. James, and one of our illustrious channel members and moderators is JX3D. Big hello to you, mate. Nice to have you here. He's looking after us in the chat. We've also got Kissing the Machine and Lady Aptitude. Nice to have you guys. Macrodosed. Big hello to you, Stephen. And Marky, Matt Brown, and New Precision. Hello to you guys, as well as Paul Holmes, QRDNK Sim, and the Wookie. Nice to have all of you guys, and obviously anyone else who I've missed. I do apologize if I've missed anyone like George Kempson and people like that. Anyway, nice to have you. Okay, as we always do with every show, we have our regular segments, and if you're ever wondering what is the structure of this show, what are the regular segments, what do we always do in the show? Well, there's always my website, ranzee.com. You can head on over there, and if you do have a look at ranzee.com, there is a page about Synth Geekery. There's a whole bunch of stuff about my music as well, but do check it out if you do head on over there. There's a Synth Geekery page. There's actually a Synth Geekery menu. You can go and check out all the information about the Synth Geekery show. It hasn't been updated for a little bit, but it tells you all the regular video guests and how to be part of the show and all that sort of stuff. That's on there, so do check that out. And if you do want to support the show, there's other ways to do that. You can become a channel member on this platform, YouTube, and you can see the channel members in the chat, like Kent Spong, for example, and Henrik. Also, you could be a Patreon, so patreon.com/Ranzee, easiest way to do that. And we do now upload, well, I shouldn't say we, it's an I, upload videos that I put on my YouTube channel as ad-free videos on Patreon now. So because Patreon now finally have got their act together and they're allowing us to put content videos up, which is fantastic. I don't know how long it's going to be for and how many hundreds of hours I'll be allowed to upload on there, but the good news is all the videos that I've uploaded probably for the last 12 months should be up there now. And for those who have been Patreon members, many thanks to you guys, and we'll keep putting the good stuff up there. For example, I've put up a copy of the rare tracks that we've released, so you can, for Patreons especially, you can get access to those, because that's something that I've always promised, is that you get free access to my music, WAV files, full master copies and things like that, and a whole bunch of other stuff like downloads and things like that as well. Right, let's head on to the regular segment, starting with this button. Yes, this kind of snuck in at the end of last week, but I thought we'd put it in properly this week, just to make it look as close as possible to the picture as you can see, and I'll give you $50. Yes, that one's quite good. All right, next one is vaporware. This is a module you can buy that
yes,
blows a bit of smoke up your ass. So there's that one. Also, there is this one. This is going to cost $500, and he's pointing obviously at some car repairs. And this guy's thinking straight away that I'm going to have to sell mine here.
Oh yes, welcome to my life. Yes.
And mine too.
How many of you guys have thought of that before?
Oh, no.
And I think this is the last one. I don't know how to say this. Just say it. Moog. All right, let's see if I can get this right this week. We're going to do a poll.
Ooh.
What is your favorite? What was your favorite meme? This time I've worked out how to do it. So the first one was the... Where are we? The Moog Tat. The next one was the Vaporware. The next one was... Not that one. The Repairs. Repairs sell your gear. It's a great one. No influences from me. And the last one was Say It. Say it, darling. Say it. There we go. Poll's in. Does the poll work? There we go. Look at that. As long as I do 4 memes, we can do. Here you go. People are voting. People are voting.
Yeah, I don't see it on the iPad.
Oh. Well, you can just type it in.
I can tell. I can
You
type
should
it.
do. I see on the iPad.
Oh, yeah, it's just popped up. Oh.
Yeah, and you can press it. It's fine.
I can tell you right now, Repairs and the Moog Tattoo are neck and neck. Get your votes in, people.
Yeah. Oh, exciting.
Neck and neck for the Moog and Tattoo. Whoa, I think the Repairs are... Oh, hang on a minute. We've got Say It, darling. It's coming up to close third.
It's like watching a
Moog Tattoos.
The Repairs just so damn close to home. That's why. So
Moog, I think the Moog Tattoo is going to win it. I think the Moog Tattoo. It's very, very close, but I think the Moog Tattoo is going to win it. Let's cross over to the chat. And let's have a look here. Don't know why it doesn't show that there. Oh, okay, it does show it, but I need to zoom out, don't I? That's probably what it is. Let's have a look here. If I zoomed in, I have. So if I zoom out, reset. Oh, how come I can't do that? Reset, reset, reset everything. There you go. Reset all. Does that fix it? No.
No. I mean, I've got 42% for the Moog.
I've got 42% for Moog. I'm going to end the poll anyway. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Right.
42%, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
Just finished, yeah.
Let me zoom back in on this again. And then pan it so we can see
33 votes.
So it's the answer to the universe, right? So.
Yeah, certainly is.
Brilliant number.
Zoom a bit more. Pan a bit more.
Come back, Douglas Adam. All is forgiven.
There you go. How's that? 42% for Moog, 36% for Repairs. Say It, darling, 15%, and Vaporware, because everyone loves Eurorack, is the 4th.
Wow, loaded statement.
Well, it's a smoking thing, Rant. It wasn't about Eurorack. It's about smoking.
Yeah, smoke up your ass. Yep. Yeah, next week we'll be asking, as Kent says in the chat, we'll be asking people to pronounce Roland correctly. Right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should get some news going. Now, there's some interesting news this week. Let's roll the stinger. The Ult Sound DS4M. Apparently this is quite rare, this thing, that when it first came out by Toyogaki, it's the DS4 drum machine. Is a 4-independent analog drum machine with a whole bunch of features. Now, the company is remaking this, and there's a little video on Instagram, actually. Actually, no, sorry, not Instagram, on YouTube, but I can't play it because this is the original DS4 drum machine. So the one that you're seeing here is actually the replica that they're making, the DS4M, okay, which would be priced for about $2,000 if you want to get it. Yeah, so we're talking sort of, people that know this will want it, people who don't will not. But anyway, let's have a look. I'll just scroll through the video, but this is the original Toyogaki one here, just to sort of give you an idea of what it looked like. May even just be able to do a quick play. One of those sort of drum machines, right?
Right.
I don't want to get a copyright strike.
That's
but yeah,
a pretty good demo.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was kind of interesting. It does maintain the original discrete components and chips and ICs that the original has. So if you are looking at getting this, you will, let me tell you now, you will be getting this if you know what this is and you are lusting after it, because these are very, very hard to get hold of. If you don't know what it is and you're thinking, oh, it's just a drum machine and it sounds like a MIDI pops, I don't really want to get it because it's $2,000. That's probably most of us. Don't worry, don't feel bad. But the people that do know what this is, they will go, oh hell yeah, I'm getting this. This is amazing. So information that I had on it was that I'm pretty sure there was going to be a limited number of modules offered. Where are we? That, by the way, I've read for those who don't really know about this drum machine, I read that the Yellow Magic Orchestra were famous in using this. So if you guys know of that music, you'll probably think to yourself, right, now I get it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So you can get it through the developer's Instagram page, which is ultrasound _DS4M. I'll actually link this to you guys in chat. But like anything, down below underneath the picture, you can see there's a link to my blog article. All the blog articles will go live at the end of the show, and you'll be able to access all the pictures and videos and links and everything that we show on the show, including the memes, including the price watch stuff, the auction pages, everything. So there's a link anyway if you guys want to check it out. Please don't click on it now and disappear and go check it out. Stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us, darling.
Stay with me, baby. Say Moog and we'll stay.
Moog.
Right.
It's Moog.
Oh, Moog. Yes, it is Moog. Of course it's Moog.
Okay. What else we got next? Next. The MixTape sampler from Beep Boop. This is a module. Yes, it is a module. Don't leave. Please stay. They are synthesizers. Okay.
So Robbie's not in the chat.
It's a tape. It's a tape. It's a tape emulator.
The look, this thing's pretty cool. It's actually a little sampling based module that you can get. That is about £129, $260 Aussie if you're playing along at home. In Australia, it is an alternative lo-fi tape sampler style Eurorack module. You know, you can see there's a little tape vertically pictured there, but it has CV controls and things like that on it, which makes it interesting. It has this is a redo by this company, and it's got a new ISD chip which adds a host of new improvements and features, which a lot of people who know about the Beep Bop, the original Beep Boop, MixTape sampler will go, this is awesome, cool. So it now has an active mixer in it, which enables you to combine the output of the sampler with the input of audio. So you can actually mix the original. It's kind of like a dry wet mix, but with a sampler in mind, which is kind of a cool little feature. I like that. So you don't need extra patching. Is kind of where they want to go with it. The sample length is 40 seconds at 4 kilohertz or 13 seconds at 12 kilohertz. And the increased sample, don't forget this is tape lo-fi, right? So we're not looking at 96K, guys. This is lo-fi.
It's like SK1.
yeah. But the whole point of this is to really, bit crushy up your sample and muck around with it.
Lo-fi, baby.
Yeah. What else? There's a bit of stability improvements in this. It's got record, start, stop, and gate inputs, as you can see there. And there's what else? Tape saturation and clipping. And it is a, how many HP? I saw it somewhere. Where was it? Not there.
10 or 8.
It wasn't there. It was here.
Let's guess the HP.
No, I did read it, but it was in the wrong different page. It is 8 HP. You got
like 10.
You got it kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I don't need a
Oh, and
HP
I didn't tell you the
ruler.
US dollar price, 165. So 129 pounds, 260 Australian, 165 US. There you go. That looks quite
And
cool
there's no-
too, by the way.
It does.
No
I
video.
saw this too on my feed, Rants, and I was interested in it. I liked it. I love the panel. It's quite cute.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear it, and I can't find any videos of it.
No. But if you do go to Beat Bop Electronics, their website, there will be samples of the original one, which is so you can go check that out. But for now, I wanted to get this up because it's a bit low on the news at the moment, guys. We need content for the show, and I thought this was an interesting module. But as I always say, guys, if you're going to release products, please just do a little video, even if it's a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Just do something for us to bite into. We'd love you more.
Even just an audio sample.
Not that we love you less, but we'd love you more. You know, everyone wants more, don't they? It's like when you go to dinner and you want dessert afterwards. That's more.
Oh.
Exactly. Coffee after that. See, you can't leave.
Yeah.
Think about it. Where the main course is releasing your product, let's add some dessert and some coffee. Do it a video.
And some cheese board.
How about after dinner mints?
Who knew about this coming out?
Didn't we know? I can't remember. I lost track.
I can't remember, to be fair.
I kind of had a feeling. I had a feeling they'd do it. I didn't know they were doing it. There is another product that they've announced this week that they're shipping, which is not really newsworthy. It's the X5M, which is the SEM voice clone that they're doing. But we already announced that product about a year ago or so. But this is a new synthesizer, which is in their, sort of like the Poly D sort of style. This is not going to be a Eurorack module, desktop module type synth. This one is a keyboard. If you're wondering what it's based on the Roland SH5. And the SH5 is actually a pretty interesting synthesizer, considering it was one of Roland's earlier synths from 1975, I believe. And so the way, I think if we're to be fair, Roland were pretty much competing with Moog to get product, right? We're talking about in the day when the Model D was out. The Model D had been out for about 5 years. Roland brought out the SH5 and some products around then, but the SH5 actually did prick a few ears, raise a few eyebrows at the time, and I think still to this day, a lot of people actually pay homage to this. It's quite a good synth. So it's nice that Behringer have remade this, because Roland have obviously failed to remake it. And they don't chase analog ghosts, according to them. So
I don't think it sold very well originally, if I remember rightly.
They didn't sell a mint, no. Yeah.
Plus, there's too many knobs and sliders to make a boutique out of it, so
Yeah.
wouldn't quite fit.
All right, so let's have a look at their Behringer is starting to get pretty clever at their videos now. So let's have a look at that. You guys have probably seen this already.
Authentic reproduction of the original SH5 circuitry, a Japanese-made vintage monosynth classic from 1975, making it one of the older synth designs in our lineup. And it comes with all the functionality that made the original such a sought-after piece, like the dual 4-wave shaped VCOs with hard and soft oscillator sync modes, the legendary fat-sounding multi-mode 24 dB diode filter with low-pass, high-pass and band-pass switch, and naturally it also has the additional band-pass filter, the signature sound creating ring modulator, 2 fully analog LFOs, ADSR and AR envelopes with VCAs, a sample and hold circuit with lag control, and of course it has the much loved flexible routing path and signal mixer, portamento control and bender controllers, and a whole host of I/O on the back, including MIDI, CV, external audio input, servo balanced stereo outputs, and expression controllers. And as
Probably you guys are noticing as this is scrolling, what are all those little holes underneath? He's designed it so that you can now access the bottom of this, and you can access the trim pots on all of the various analog stuff, which I think is actually really, really cool.
Why does that sound so familiar?
They don't. It's because they don't calibrate it from the factory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, the video goes for about 12 minutes. You guys can watch that later. There's some decent music in that video. I actually was quite impressed with it. It does.
I did like the title.
Definitely sounds 70s and 80s, but that is the homage of that synth. Oh my god, the price of this is insane. I mean, $5.99 is the MSRP. They're saying $4.99 street price. That is a very, very decent price when you consider what you just saw with the specs of this. As long as they get this, the sound right, which has been a little bit of a problem with Behringer to date. We'll just to give you guys a reminder, the MS1 has been reissued because they didn't get the envelopes right. There's quite a few examples. The RD8 has a second edition because they didn't get some of the sounds right on that. So anyway, Ian, you wanted to say?
I was just going to say that I didn't play it a lot, but I played the original one. Because they covered it in loads of effects, it didn't sound like I remember it, but it was, that was my only gripe, is I'd like to hear it raw.
Yeah.
I quite liked it. I never owned one. I didn't play, like I said, I didn't play an awful lot, but I played it a bit. But I almost bought one. I just didn't have the money at the time. It was second hand. It was about probably late 70s, about 79, 80, something like that, when I was looking for one. But I didn't have the money. But no, I like the original, but I'd like to hear it without all the effects.
Yeah, they went into that section of the video where they were showing the raw. They were saying, let's have a listen to the raw oscillator, and it's covered in delay and reverb, and I'm like, that's not the raw oscillator. You won't even know what it actually sounds like, because any type of digital effect, they'd probably use TC Electronics or something. You'll never actually get any inkling on what that will sound like, because that will just literally change the shape and timbre of that sound just by putting effects on it. Yeah, good point, Ian. But who wants to get one of these? I think, if I had the spare cash, I'd probably get one.
No, I don't need one.
Seems nice, yeah.
I've got plenty of mono synths. I've got the Model D, so I'll stick with that. Really, I don't use that an awful lot, but no, I don't. It's not for me. I'd rather spend £500 on something else.
This looks more interesting than the Poly D, even though the Poly D is poly.
But is it poly or is it para? I don't know. Should we get into that?
It's probably para.
I get that it does. It really does have a unique sound. So it again hits my buttons of, oh my god, I've got to have that sound too. But space and the form factor, even though I think it makes perfect sense for the instrument, I don't have the space for the form factor here. And it's another mono synth, which I can't really justify buying endless synths.
So you're a no as well. Cool. So there's two yeses and two no's.
I mean, actually, I don't.
I'm not a no. I'm not a never, but I'm a no.
Right. Okay. You're a no.
I might, if they brought it out without the keyboard, then I might have been interested, because I've got enough keyboards.
Yeah, I saw a post on their Facebook where someone asked, "Can you guys make a module version of this?" And apparently there was an emphatic no from Behringer as a reply. So sometimes they say that though, and then 2-3 years down the track they go, "Oh, you know what? We've made a module." You just don't know what these guys are up to.
I forgot how different they are, but I have the SH2 plug out on the System 8, and it's amazing. So how different is SH2?
Okay, so it's massively different to the SH2. I mean, the SH2 is kind of a different sort of. This is kind of like if you're looking at the System 100 sort of down that road. And whereas the SH2 was kind of heading more down the road to when they got to Jupiter 4, then the Pro Mars.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of like a couple of different sort of That's how I feel anyway. That but if you would describe the SH5 in one word, I'd say the word I would have is aggressive, because the filter is aggressive. The ring mod and all the little modulation things that you can do on this makes it sound really, really aggressive. It's quite.
So it's more Odyssey-like, being aggressive.
Yeah, but even more
for Roland,
overdriven.
For Roland, it's not super smooth all the time.
Yeah,
it kind of goes into territory.
You're right, Chris. It's not clean.
You wouldn't. If it was a Roland engineer, they'd be going, "Oh no, we need to fix this problem." Because that's kind of how everything else they put out after this sort of sounded like. They fixed the problems with the SH5.
The filter on it is probably the strongest point. So if you guys want to look at the filter, you've got two filters in it. You've got a standard 24 dB low pass filter, but it's also got a band pass filter with resonant control, and I think the way it's sort of wired, it's kind of it's in series, so you can use them both at the same time, which makes it interesting. I'm not sure how Behringer have done that, but I mean, if they were to do it true to the original SH5, that would have been how you'd do it. It's a lovely looking synth, so I love the grey and the black, and it's
it looks nice. Yeah. I mean, having said that though, if they brought out a Jupiter 4 clone, I would have to be tempted, because I always hankered off to the Jupiter 4, and I know Kent's got one sat in his living room.
Yeah, I have a fairly good sense that they will get one, but I can't tell you that from any sort of NDA or anything like that. Yeah. I have a fairly good sense that they'll do one, because there was something that they wrote. This was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, which definitely said that they were going to be doing the Jupiter 4, because it's like they definitely said they were doing a Jupiter 8, but then they said they're going to do another Jupiter, because they're quite remarkably different. Even though it's got the same name, it's really quite remarkably different since. Okay.
It's funny what Kent said. Why they choose the 5 and not the 7? Do you get the impression they only model stuff they really have access to, like they can't get a 7 or something like that?
No,
it just wasn't as popular or something.
No, I think the 5 was more popular.
More popular.
I don't know. Personally, I don't know if I would say the 7's better than the 5. I would probably say the 5's better than the 7.
I never played the 7.
I've never seen either one, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've definitely played a 5, and I've seen 7s and heard 7s in music. I kind of feel like the 5 is better, in my opinion. But yeah, Kent would know. He touches that stuff a lot more frequently than we do. But look, these guys are touching those analog circuits of a lot of this gear, and they're starting to discover that Roland have got manufacturing cut and paste technology in the 70s and 80s. So when they were making things like the System 100, and they were doing the Jupiter, and they were doing all these things, they would have seen the lineage and the development of the filter technology. They would have seen the way their oscillators were made, and they're different for different synths, but they would have seen just how different they are. Is it like a massive difference, or is it just a slight circuit design improvement, as technology came out? And right now the people at Behringer would be discovering all this stuff. It'd be a huge bit of intel for them. So
nostalgia,
good on them.
It's quite an education.
Yeah. In my opinion, I kind of feel like that if they've done a fairly decent job of the Oberheims, they've done a fairly decent job of the Moogs and the Rolands, they're kind of, and also the ARPs, they've arrived. I feel like they've earned the tick. Hey, we know how to make analog gear. I think they've earned it, and especially the people that they use.
Make one.
I think they've improved the process.
Make a Behringer one, then they can smash all this information they've got together and make a nice Behringer synth.
Yes, that's what we want them to do.
I think the problem, Daren, is that they've got a promise list that they've told everyone that they want to get through. The VCS3 is on its way out. There's quite a few other things that people have been waiting on. And I think once they get through that promise list, which is probably not that far away, to be fair, they will probably start punching out some different stuff. And my gut feel though, Darren, is I reckon it'll be a lot more digital than analog. That would be my gut feel.
Well, that's fine. I don't mind digital or analog.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing a Jupiter 6 though.
Yeah.
Then I might be tempted to go behind over the Juno, since I'm never going to buy a real Jupiter.
See, the thing with the Juno is that technically they've made a Juno. The only thing that they didn't do, it's a deep mind, right? The only thing that they didn't do was they didn't put the analog chorus in it. But then you could buy the June 60 pedal from TC Electronics, and it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, I think that news was quite well received from what I saw on social. Most people were like, "Oh, that's actually pretty cool." The price definitely is pretty cool.
If they do a Jupiter 6, do you think they have the Europa mod on it? Because when they added the MO to the TD3, it wasn't very well received.
Okay.
Only because I think only because they really harked the price of that up. Like if you look at the retail price of the TD3 MO versus the TD3, it's almost double the price.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which I just don't.
A lot of people complain about the sound too. They said the sound wasn't right. So
yeah. Well, the devil.
I think my TD3 was like 60 quid. I bought a brand new. I think it must have been a sale or something.
Yeah, I got mine pretty cheap.
Though.
Yeah.
The Devilfish didn't get his permission to do that either. The Devilfish
guy, he was pretty pissed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
All right. What do we got next? This is another thing that I think is quite interesting. This is a DIY axolotl product called the Gills or Ksoloti. This is basically it's a platform which you can get, the axolotl platform. You can get open source. There's a whole bunch of code that you can already chuck at it, and you can make yourself your own synth. And this is what this guy's done. So there is an Instagram video here, which I'll cross over to you guys. You can watch this now. This is it on Instagram. Let's see if it works. I mean, the video, it's pretty cool. It sounds nice and, ambient and paddy-like and everything, but it's like drowning in effects.
It's also a room recording too, right? It's very mid.
It was very mid, wasn't it? Yeah. Don't forget, it's an Instagram video, and I don't really know how badly my computer has been rendering that for you guys. But anyway, so just a couple of updates on this. The Ksoloti core, was a chip shortage issue, so they've redone it, and now it's called Ksoloti. It's a different CPU. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. It's the same functionality though. So you get you get the ability to create custom sound patches and things like that with this thing. This has a 1.3 inch OLED screen. Darren, you'd love that. This is a DIY project, right? So there's a whole bunch of line in, line out, USB host, micro SD cards, all sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool. If you wanted to buy it, it's $110 £110 plus VAT for the enclosure, and then it's £66 plus VAT for the Ksoloti core. So all up, don't forget, DI, you got to build this thing. You're looking at £176 plus VAT, and you can get it from Thonk at the moment.
Oh yeah, right.
Which is why I know about it.
Yeah, because you usually hang out there.
Yeah, no, they've been popping up little updates about this product for the last 6 months. First, they announced that they're designing a new one for a new CPU.
Yep.
So
there's a waiting list for this, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It usually is for their sort of stuff, because I remember the Plinky. I quite fancied the Plinky, but there's a massive
the Plinky,
waiting list for it.
Yeah.
But the price is all right on this, I think. You say you can. There's some sort of scripting language for it then.
Yeah. So the Ksoloti and the Ksoloti is basically a DIY platform, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on.
Well,
GitHub, I think it is. I think it's GitHub.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just I'll get a picture of it for you guys so you can see what it looks like.
I haven't looked at the SDK to see whether it's got.
WebP. Why is everything WebP? Bloody hell! Stop with this WebP shit. I'm so sick of it. Yeah. The problem is with WebP is I've got to convert it, otherwise I can't show it to you guys.
Yeah, WebP sucks.
It does.
Normally it doesn't, because I would just drop it straight into Photoshop and it would be fine because I've got all the right plugins and everything. But for me to show you on the show, I have to convert it to JPEG because this vMix software doesn't like WebP yet. I've actually spoken to the guys about it. That is the Ksoloti platform. So it's basically a chip. It's a bit like a Raspberry Pi type thing, right?
Yeah.
Or a daisy seed, but bigger.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like.
Do they have different firmware options, or is it just one flavor thing?
I'm literally researching this right now for.
Yeah. You get different engines on it, or how do you? Because I've heard about the.
So what there is it's a programmable virtual modular synth. It has polysynth. It has a drone box. It has a sequencer. It has a chord generator. It has a multi-effects engine, a sample player, a looper, a granular sampler, a MIDI generator, and a processor, a CV or trigger generator, and anything in between and more. They've got a whole bunch of projects that are kind of in dev. So for Andy, for you, this would probably be right up your alley. Like, you like this sort of stuff. And if you've got time,
I have the old Shruti, the little Shruti platform that had like the different filters on it and stuff. Those are nice.
The only thing wrong with this, though.
Organelle.
Well, the only thing wrong with this is that it's always going to be obsolete, no matter, because it's hardware, right? It's going to be obsolete.
Yeah.
Eventually, like, I've bought Raspberry Pis, and now I've got Raspberry Pi 2s and Raspberry Pi 3s and Raspberry Pi 4s. You know what I mean? It's going to be obsolete eventually. So, so don't worry about that. If you guys get something like this and you make a little enclosure like that one I was showing you before, like this, the Gills. That once you punch out a bit of firmware and you've got this thing working the way you want, you don't have to touch it anymore. It'll operate forever as long as you feed it power. So that's the beauty of hardware. So it's not necessarily going to, it's going to limit you in the future, but it won't limit you of what you can do with it right now. And then once you that's what I like about hardware gear. Like, I've got old Electribes and they're amazing. Okay, they don't do as cool things as what the latest MPCs do, but I never have to worry about having to update my hardware because you just turn it on and plug it in and it works. So that's kind of, in a way, it's kind of a link between getting software into a bit of hardware, and then it then can stay that way forever if you want it to. A bit like these, like Chris and I were making these things, the Dex project. Yeah. So this Dex here, I haven't touched it since I showed you last on the show. I guarantee you, if I turn that on and plug it in, it will work perfectly the way it did the other time. That's exactly the same thing. So that's the point of hardware. A lot of people argue with me and say, "Oh, you don't show enough software on your show." I do. I love software. There's software inside the hardware. So
yeah,
that's the point. What are the chatties saying? They're disagreeing or agreeing or what? What are they doing? Talking about mini freaks and Nord modular. Yeah, so Nord modular is actually kind of along the road of what this was kind of like the Ksoloti, right? Because the Nord modular system was a software core, and then they built the hardware around it, right? Good point. Good point, Chatties.
Yeah.
You're on top of it. I think that's it for news. Let me double check. Yep. 4 news items. What did you guys like the most? You had the drum machine, the SH5, the MixTape module, or this thing, the Ksoloti Gills.
Well, the tape one I'd probably buy as soon as I hear it. So probably put that one up.
SH5 looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, the SH5 is probably the out of everything.
Yeah. SH5.
SH5 for me as well. I kind of feel like the tape thing, Chris, I have a million different sampling options here as it is. The thing is I've always wanted to put like a 1010 music sampler in, or an ALM sample, whatever you call it. I've always wanted to put one of those in my eurorack, but the only reason why I've never really pulled the trigger in buying one is because I've got literally a whole bunch of samplers sitting right next to all my gear here, and I don't really need it. Other than some of the cool features of getting it to trigger with eurorack and things like that, I don't really need it.
It's a grey area in eurorack samplers, because samplers are so effective outside of eurorack.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's the one technology that still to this day kind of lends itself to being used with computers, because it's digital in nature.
And you kind of
I get you.
You kind of miss out on the what's the word? You get a benefit, but you lose a whole bunch of benefits at the same time. You're not going to be able to run a massive, huge, powerful computer in your eurorack for a start.
I do so much editing of samples, and so many layers of edits and so many layers of processing and so many layers of timeline edits that it's like you wouldn't want to do that in a retro sampler, would you? Like they did in the old days with the Akais. Took 6 weeks.
I mean, I talked to Brooksy about this. He's 1010. The use of his 1010 in his EMON performance is brilliant, but he does a lot of preparation. So it's all the work done ahead of time that makes the. And then he's got the tools to manipulate those samples but everything has to fit within a certain criteria before it's actually usable. Daren, I was playing with the Force today. With the Force you can merge a Ableton project across. You're like Max Headroom today, Daren. You're like
I know. I don't know why
the wife's probably waiting to
She's just not going woo 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 woo.
The thing that
I'll be with the Art of Noise next.
You will be. The kind of thing that annoys me about the Force is
quite a few things annoy me. But
yeah, well, there's a lot, but I think the biggest thing is the lack of warp feature on it. Literally you can't drop a sample in there, and like with Ableton you can just literally click the warp button, choose the BPM, and it's done its magic. And you can choose there's a bunch of different options in Ableton, where it's beat based or complex pro, or these little options in there, but that's based on an algorithm of compression or decompression with the warping. But with the Force, like one of the things I didn't realize is when I recorded a track, I'm going to actually show you guys a little bit later, this. I'll do a little remix with Ableton of one of my Gates tracks for you guys tonight, and you guys can check out what I'm sort of doing in terms of putting a track together and how it's working. And I wanted to actually do it on the Force, but I've just decided that it's just too much of a train wreck to do it on the Force. It'll simplify it down too much.
Yeah, the Force and the blending with Ableton was made to be such a wonderful thing, and it is quite limited, to be honest. It's that's why when I'm writing my live sets, because I write a lot of live sets on Ableton and then transfer it to the Force, which takes the time. You'd think it'd be a lot easier just by transferring over, but it takes more time to correct it and get it set up on the Force from when it's from Ableton to the Force. I like writing in Ableton. It's just I find it easy without doing the touchscreen. So getting the live set is weeks work to get it all back how it sounds on Ableton. But like you say, the warping, if you leave the warp on an Ableton and then transfer it over to the Force, you can guarantee somewhere in there the sample is not warped the same in the Force, and you just find all sorts of issues with it, and he's going backwards and forwards trying to work it out. And also, Ableton always puts a fade on the samples. Into the Force. That doesn't have a fade on it. So you've got a complete nice. For instance, if I have a drum loop and it's no click on it in Ableton, I transfer it over to Force.
There's a click.
You carry on working. There's a click, and getting that off in the Force is a nightmare.
You got to go into your envelopes and muck it around.
That's terrible.
So the
MPC have a warp that the Force doesn't have?
So hang on a sec. So the big thing here is just hold on to that question, Andy. The big thing for me was that what Daren just said. So you would have to actually go and create everything so that the sample is going to behave perfectly in the Force. There's only kind of a little bit of stuff that you can do in the Force to manipulate it, which, like Daren was saying, it's kind of I feel like it's kind of like a letdown, to be fair.
It is.
Once you get in the Force and it's all edited, it's brilliant. You can launch clips and it's amazing, that side of it, the performance side. But the editing side is terrible. Sorry, Andy, what was your question?
Oh, just this warping function you're talking about. I know MPC has a few things that the Force never got, or they will eventually get.
So you can warp
options that are better.
You can warp, right? But it's limited in the Force. It's limited. So, like for example, if I was to warp, I'd go into the sample edit and I'd have to choose one of the menu options in the sample edit, and then it's a destructive. I mean, you save. It doesn't save over the top. It saves a different sample, but it's a destructive warp. Whereas in Ableton, it's a non-destructive warp. You can turn that feature off or on, and it doesn't actually affect the original sample. You can do a thing called a freeze in Ableton where it can create like a copy of what you've done in a clip. And freezing is actually a really, really cool feature in Ableton, by the way, too. Because
CPU
and that is one. I wouldn't say it's a trick, but that's one thing I use when I'm creating my live set. Is as I write in Ableton, I will then freeze that sample, that clip, everything I've done to that clip or sample. I will freeze it out, and then I will leave warp and loop off. So when I transfer it into the Force, it is most of the time it is bang on. I mean, occasionally I have issues for some unknown reasons, but most of the time it's bang on. And then obviously I go into a Force and then add all the bits that was in Ableton that you can't transfer over to the Force. So when you see my live set, you'll know that it's took probably months of work to get it to, for 2 hours long in a live set takes months work. Because I'm not on it every single day, you know what I mean? It's not like, but it's just such a. It doesn't transfer, like you say, Ranz, as simple and nice.
It shouldn't be like that, should it?
Out to be.
Well, there's a couple of things.
It shouldn't be like that.
A limitation to 8 audio tracks, in my opinion, is a massive issue. Because I understand why they've got 8 audio track limitation on the hardware, but what I sort of don't get is like in Ableton, a clip is an audio clip, right? It's a little sample that is programmed to loop or play as a one shot or whatever. But technically it's not an audio track per se. But if you're trying to import stuff into Ableton into the Force from Ableton, it has to treat it as an audio track or a MIDI track.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's the only two options, and nothing's a MIDI track unless it's actually MIDI. So any of these clips it's all audio. So literally, you have to have this really very weak layered project in Ableton to bring it across to the Force, and otherwise it will truncate everything. It'll just do the first 8 tracks. It'll truncate everything. So if you're importing, you have to put all the important stuff out the front from track 1 to track 8. And these are all the things that you kind of learn.
You see, yeah. Well, this is another reason when I was first going to do my EMON, and I got the Force, I thought this is going to be great because I worked so much in Ableton. This will work out together. Obviously, I found out that didn't work. So I now write tracks in Ableton. I then have to think how I'm going to get them onto the Force. So then I squash those tracks in Ableton to the best I can, remembering that you've only got 8 audio tracks on the Force. I mean, I do use soft synths on the Force and outboard stuff.
Yeah.
But the main core of the song is the 8 audio tracks, which is limiting, which is a pain. Then squash it on Ableton to 8 tracks so that I know that at least the frame of the track will work. And then from the Force onwards, I can work outwards. And I've found if I do a 2-hour set and then I come in later on, so I've got my 2-hour set all rigged out, and then I come up with an idea and I'll put it on Ableton, you can't then transfer that project back onto the Force because you've done so much work on the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that simple clip from Ableton, a few clips, and then add them into the Force later, which is fine, but occasionally it causes problems then because for some reason the Force decides that it doesn't like that sample that you've now created about a few weeks later, and it messes it all up. So yeah, everything has to be completely planned out first. Even though it looks simple when you're playing it live, it is not.
I feel like we've just completely pooed all over the Akai Force. But having said that, they are literally.
I'd have a second one.
They are literally the only big issues with it. So when it comes to
Machina Plus has the same problems too.
And I think the Deluge doesn't. They all do, right? So and
does
also
the Push 3 have the limitations?
Well, apparently not. Apparently they don't know of how. Well, I mean, we've talked about this before on the show. So you can put more CPU and RAM in the Push 3. But anyway, I kind of feel like the Push 3 is starting to look actually quite sexy to me. To be fair, don't forget though, the Push came out. How long have I had the Push for now? I've had it for years, probably 5 years. So it's quite old.
2. I've got the 2.
So
I just wish they'd put a bigger screen on the Push 3, and then it would have been a complete change. Then, if they'd have done the sort of Force route, I would have then been straight onto a Push 3.
Have you ever had a Force crash on you, Darren?
No. Oh, sorry, tell a lie. Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah.
When I was practicing my set before Blackpool, I had a major meltdown because it crashed. And I think it was because I pulled out the USB. I had a USB.
Oh, you didn't eject it.
And I pulled it out.
Yeah.
On the Force, and it was all live. I just pulled out the USB hub, which was controlling my MIDI controllers. I went, wrong port, and put it back in. Then it crashed.
Yeah. Oh, that'll do it.
USB is so flexible, you can pop it in and out.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair enough. But what I kind of where I was going with it is that I kind of feel like they're pretty stable as a piece of hardware that you would use and trust in a performance. And I kind of feel like there was a question in chat. I think I can't remember. I think it might have been Sim that asked, "Why don't we just use a laptop?" Why don't we just?
I've got a massive new live set. I've never the blackout set, and you've just said that they never crash and they're reliable. What's going to happen?
Well,
as long as you each touch wood at the same time.
I mean, you can use the Force as a controller for a laptop. You don't have to use a stand
over your shoulder and look at it. Not walk under a ladder.
That's true. Yeah, that's true, Andy.
You need duplicates of everything. That's what you need.
It's like people complain about Machina Plus because it's underpowered if you want to go super crazy with so many layered effects, and you can't just move a project over and expect it to work. Like Darren was saying, you have to basically lean it out to make it work for the platform it has, or use it in the Mark III mode where it's tethered to a computer, and then you can do whatever you want. Just a controller at that point.
Yeah.
So the basic is,
at the end of the day, I mean, this is live stuff, but by the end of the day, you've got to know the platform you're working with, and then work everything to that, and it'll be fine. If you try to outdo or get too complicated, then it's just not going to work. But you know that offhand when you start the project in the first place.
And that kind of gets me back, like circling back to what I originally said. Like, we just pooed all over the Force about its inabilities to do a whole bunch of complex stuff. But when you think about it, like, the workaround is actually pretty simple. You render down all your clips so that you can work within 8 tracks. That keeps the Force running more reliably. You know, if you wanted the Force to be running 16 tracks, it's probably going to crash more. So I feel like it's a sensible thing. And then once you've worked out how to work around their little sort of ecosystem, it's actually not too bad. So, for example,
it's just
there was a thing that I did where I wanted to record my C-Legs module from my eurorack, right? So basically, it's recording some sort of oscillator sequence going through an effects, and that effects is synced to a clock. The problem is that becomes now a sample, and all the effects, like you've got a beat, it's all baked into the sample. Once you start manipulating and warping that sample, all of those effects is pretty much going to sound really kind of weird. So what sucks is that you kind of have to drop some of the cool features that you've got in your setup to be able to work with the Force. So you're kind of better off just having like a raw sequence without any effects, record that as a sample, putting that back in as a clip in your Force, and then maybe you could, send that out somewhere else.
So you guys are, I assume you're familiar with the idea of stems, mixing down to stems.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I'm just wondering if that's what they were thinking when they designed the Force, was that, the idea would be that you would mix down to 8 stems and bounce down, just bounce out those stems to the Akai Force.
You can do that in the Force as well. So like if you're starting to run out of tracks, audio tracks in the Force, you can literally combine them into a new track. Or you can another thing you could do is, Daren probably does it as well, is you can pull a sample in as an audio track and then splice it, and then that becomes a drum group, and then that becomes, it's kind of like another audio track, which is cool, but it frees up an audio track. So if you've got things like drums and stuff like that you can can splice up and map out different samples on different pads, that's where you use a drum track. So there's kind of ways around things.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work to kind of decide.
The only thing when you do that,
I think it was a combination though,
because
you have eight layers up front until you start scrolling, and if it gets too busy, you can get lost with more than 8 layers if you're not paying attention with all the complexity. Plus, the CPU is limited, so I mean they kind of had to put limits on stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
you watch people with really complex setups live, and they're going crazy with the damn thing.
And each track has a lot of stuff.
Going in and out of Force now that I've got on my live setups, the amount of MIDI going in and out is probably, I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot more than actually audio stuff that's going on. So you can get like Andy says, if you start stretching out too far, too many lanes wide, lost. Too many.
Spread yourself
You're gonna because you've only got those 8 displayed. I mean, I cope with, at the moment I've got probably 3 or 4 going on extra, but I know what they're doing, so you don't really need to see them much. But if you start getting it too complicated, like Andy says, you're going to be lost. That's why I always wanted a mirror function on the AP6 64. I still think it'd be great.
Yeah,
like you said on the last show,
to my mind,
some
anyway.
of those ribbons are very touch sensitive, so if you oops, I bumped that. What did I bump?
Yeah.
The whole thing is thrown off.
Yeah. Oh, they are so. I even managed to touch you with my jumper leaning over, and it moved one of them. Shifted it. If that fade is doing something off screen that I don't know what it is, you can get completely lost. So I'm having to rework that, because that's not going to work. Because if I get it touched, you're lost. You don't know what's gone wrong. And you know what happens when you start fiddling with everything trying to get it right? You make more of a mess. But yeah,
we
love the Force. I'm not dissing it.
We're not dissing it. We're just saying it's got to be played with a certain way. You can't just kind of throw your usual attitude at it, because it'll just say, no, I don't want it like that. Yeah. And I think in a way, I kind of feel like the limitations are sensible, frustrating but sensible, if that makes sense. So, like, yeah, do things a different way. You're still going to achieve the same result, but you might have to rethink the way you're going to go about it. And then once you've, like what Daren's doing in his live sets, he knows that it's limited to 8 tracks. So, and he's got some drum tracks he can use on top of that as samples as well. But the rest of it, he just does MIDI. So as long as he's got the gear there that can be driven by MIDI, no problem. Like you could launch another sampler, from the Force via MIDI. So it's not that hard. Like an iPad.
And he has other gear with him in the set, so he can go tweak something else that does something similar. So
yeah. And like I said, and also you can use some of the VSTs on the soft synths on the Force as well, which
they're pretty good.
Sometimes replace some of the stuff that I have. Which replace some of the stuff that's in Ableton, because sometimes you forget you write a track with it in Ableton and then realise that you're not good on the Force. You're going to have to either sample it down or use a different synth but a similar sound, things like that. And obviously I've got my Micro Monster and other little bits. iPad as well, which is great. iPad is so much handy to use that. So it's like we say, we're not dissing it. It's good, but don't go all on the when they give the full on. This can just rock out Ableton tracks. You just blend it straight over quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't work like that.
No.
So it has an actual integration feature that sort of vaguely promises that is that the idea, and it's just frustrating because it doesn't deliver.
It gives you the very basics transfer. Yeah. It will transfer MIDI samples, but not as you've got the samples.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you use effects, then you've no chance. You're gonna have to re-effects you.
Yeah, exactly.
So another thing is Akai. I don't know if it's all Akai stuff, but Akai MPC and Akai Force. We're talking about these two different they're very similar sort of product lines, right? They don't know how to write manuals at all that are user friendly. I'm sorry, Akai, but you don't, and you need someone to actually they're written by an engineer. And I don't mean anything rude about engineers, because engineers are incredibly brilliant people, but they aren't musicians and they aren't end users.
No.
They definitely have a logic flow to their manuals, and I definitely agree to why they're the way they are. But if you're looking for something in an Akai user manual for a Force or an MPC, it's very, very difficult for you to work out how to do it. And I'll give you an example. Say I wanted to turn the metronome on, or I wanted to turn the metronome off, right? There is a shift. You hold down shift and you press a key on one of the pads, right? And you can do it. So what most well-written manuals would do is they would show you a visual diagram of the pad layout, and they would highlight what the keys to press are. Even Roland actually do this. Probably not that good, but Roland actually do it. In the Akai, it's literally just a list of words, and you have to sort of decipher it.
Use your imagination.
Yeah, they're not into pictures or Pictionaries.
They do have pictures in there, and some of them are pretty good.
Some of the things don't work out how you would expect them to. They've either got a different name for it on the Force, or just a slightly different way that's not intuitive to do it. You have to sort of go outside the box.
It's not a tiny manual either, so they have a lot of pages. They could have added a couple more pages to have graphics on there. So
so that's why like guys like the MPC, what's it called? I got it the other day. It's not the other day. I got it out the other day. I've had it for years. The MPC alternative manual. Where is it? MPC Bible. That's the guy. The guy that writes the MPC Bible. And if you do buy an MPC Bible, I don't know if he's done a Force one. He might have. When you buy it the first time, anytime he updates from there on, it's yours for free. So you buy it, it might cost you $50 or whatever to buy it, and then anytime they update the firmware, the software, or anything like that, he'll update the MPC Bible, and you can just download the latest PDF for free. The good thing about
same with Adobe products, the third-party manuals are always better than the official ones.
Yeah,
I'm not going to show you because it'll breach copyright. But he has screenshots, and he shows like where on the screen you have to tap things, and like it's just much more intuitive. And I just employ that guy, Akai. Employ him to write your manuals. Seriously,
I bought the OPZ manual. The third-party OPZ manual did that. That's so much better than what Teenage Engineering do.
Well, as like you were saying, the old stuff, the old Akai samples, like the 3000 XL and 3000, the manuals on them were fairly clear, fairly easy to read, and I had no issues with it.
I think the MPC 1000 manual was a bit sucky. I remember that being not too good. So there must have been a period where they just like I said, or maybe they translated from Japanese engineering talk into English, or I'm not sure.
That happens a lot. When I worked at Nikon, all the manuals started in Japanese and went to English, and they had problems.
Yeah.
And they have different ways to describe things in Japanese. They have different words they use.
Yeah.
Even the translation team has trouble, and it's written in Japan. It's like, can you guys do in the same Japanese words?
Yeah. Look, I'm not trying not to poo on Akai because I actually really love their products, and they make
because we want them to make a Force 2, which they won't.
Well, they might. I don't think it'll be Ableton related though. Do you know what I mean? I think it'll head down a different path.
Diverge.
I don't know, it's been long enough. They may not do it at this point. They're doing so many other weird MPC things, the keyboards and stuff, that I think they're going to give up on the Force at some point.
Yeah. So, by the way, this is kind of, we were talking before about what I've been up to during the week. So during the week, I no longer have access to Ableton 12 anymore because the beta program now has gone into public, and they want me to buy a new license for it, even though I was one of probably millions of, I don't know how many they've got. But I did help them out. I found bugs. I reported bugs, Anyway, it's going to cost me 349 Australian dollars to upgrade 11 suite to 12 suite. And I'm sorry, guys, but I can't afford that. It's a lot of money for a piece of software. Which
do you find it worth it?
I definitely will pay it at some stage this year, but at the moment, I can't sort of fork that sort of money out.
Well, I'll be going from Ableton 9.7 to the latest version when I eventually sort my computer out. So that's what I'm still at. All my live set and everything's still being worked on 9.7. Which
I kind of feel like
the last version now.
I kind of feel like 9 is actually not too bad. If I remember back to 9, and there's some things in 10 and 11 that were really big, but I think 12 is probably the biggest update they've done for a long time. So I definitely will get it eventually, but I just can't fork out $349. And this is just an upgrade. This is not I'm buying a new license. I just kind of feel like it's pretty shit, to be fair.
They do the same with Max MSP actually as well. I know it's Cycling 74, but obviously there's a connection with Max Live. But I have to, every time they do an update there, it's like 500 quid.
Did Max Live update with 12?
It did. They've had 2 updates with Max for Live. The first one was during the beta program. They actually put the new Max for Live kernel in, and then they actually the actual Max for Live guys did an update to that as well. And when 12 went public, I think they did another update to Max for Live, which was pretty substantial as well.
Yeah, Cycling 74 have done an update to Max MSP, which I haven't done, because they've got something called Rainbow now, which it won't affect the Max for Live stuff, but because it's about exporting it as a plug out type thing, which you always used to be able to do back in the day. You could create something in Max MSP and then just export it. But I have access to I won't have access to probably the latest Max for Live modules, but I got most of them in my version of Max MSP.
Guys in
And
chat
that's
are
the stuff I
saying
was more interested in.
the guys in chat are sort of are wondering why is it costing me so much to update. I looked at it yesterday or the day before. It was literally live. So I'm just going to have a look on my computer and I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
Where is it? Account? Where did I see it? Oh, there's a button somewhere. I can't be bothered trying to find it. I hate this when you're doing a live stream. Your brain doesn't work the same way.
No, it's difficult enough to navigate the web.
It doesn't.
Anyway.
It doesn't work the same way.
Multitasking, so
you can't.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Here.
It's just like, even just being a guest, even you've asked a question that we all know and thingy, your answer just goes completely.
Yeah.
And you know the answer.
Doing this week. That's usually when I blank out.
There we go, guys.
I can't remember.
I'm actually logged in. I'm logged into Ableton.com now, and you can see here it actually says your upgrade prices, so that it knows my.
Yeah.
Now I'm a 11 suite owner, so this is. I would have to go to 11. I don't have to go to 12 suite, but I have to go to 11 suite. So when you're looking at prices, guys, don't forget that I'm talking suite, not just standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the suite is the more expensive one. It's the top of the range. So 349 Aussie. There you go. There it is there. Right there, people.
It's probably the difference, yeah.
I'm not lying.
Feel the pain, feel it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money for me, and you know,
it's a lot,
but it is pretty cheap for a full upgrade. So
people are wanting to know what the difference between the two are. I'll show you.
Suite has max.
Okay, so the far right hand column. Oh, what happened?
That's called a website active content refresh.
Yes,
and it's the bane of
all right, let's do it again.
Browsing experience.
I'll just zoom in again. The far right hand column is the studio, and the middle column is the standard. Okay, don't worry about the left column. It's the free one. So from kind of here down is where you get all the extra stuff, and obviously Max for Live is the big one. Right.
Yeah.
Sample libraries.
Then this is kind of where it starts showing the difference. So 13 software instruments versus 20, 16 versus 33. If you're wondering what they are.
More audio effects. Yeah.
What happened to my mouse? Oh no. My mouse has crashed.
I hate it when your mouse crashes.
No, it's Synergy. I'll just stop it. It should release it. There we go. So these are packs that you can get for free. Otherwise, you have to pay extra for them. Audio effects, MIDI tools. So MIDI tools and MIDI effects are kind of all pretty similar. But then there's some synths and things like that you don't get with the other one, the standard version.
I mean, the Max for Live stuff is really, really good. You know,
it's really
there's lots of sort of generative stuff and experimental stuff in there, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's really.
I mean,
good.
if I was, I mean, I don't. The reason I haven't. In fact, I don't have a version of 9 now, but I used to use 9 with Max for Live. But I don't use it often enough to warrant the expense. And I think there's
also the problem is the Max. Trying to convert Max to Max for Live is also a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've done that in the past as well. Yeah, I did that when I had 9. A lot of
times it doesn't work, or it just
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't work. You have
they got to figure that part out.
Bug fixing, yeah.
I don't use Max for Live
a
massive amount.
Live,
it's interesting.
I don't use it a massive amount, but I do. There are some core things that I use that are Max for Live products, and I have to have Max for Live because of it. So, that's just
I had
me.
I did a course on it probably while the pandemic was on, actually, and I had the the temporary license that you get when you first install it for 30 days? It was quite a long time, if I remember rightly. I had it for, and I mean, I like it, but I wouldn't use it enough. It's as simple as that.
Kent, what's he saying?
What's he done now?
As far as I could surmise, if you stand far away enough from the synth, you can't use it. Was that written in one of the manuals? I bet you it was.
Some brilliant words in the manuals, yeah. So.
All right, let's roll the next segment, and then after that, I'll do the little I don't know, remixy thing for you.
Cool.
Price watch. No scams this week. Well, I don't think there's any scams anyway. Let me fix. Oh God, every week. Who's the bottom person missing?
Ghost in the machine.
Daren or Ian? Put your hand up. Who's first? Someone speak.
Let Daren go. All
right, Daren, it is. Okay, I don't know. Darren's a little bit cut off too.
He's having a drink and something to eat.
First one off the
I am.
First one off the ranks is the Moog Sonic 6. We talked about this the other day when we were talking about the different Moog synths that have been around. The Moog Sonic 6. And I bet you some of you guys have actually played with one of these things. No? Let us know in chat if you've had a play with the Sonic 6. I haven't touched one ever.
No.
But they are on a Reverb. So halve it for pounds, £2,500 we're talking about. It is in San Diego or LA. But yeah. A couple of photos. Let's have a look. So Waveform Gen X. Is this kind of like the different types of, kids that you've got? Gen X, Gen Y?
This is like an educational
millennials
version, right? So it's
Yes.
aimed at education.
The waveform generation.
If you use this synth, you might have time travel.
Great Scott.
It's got an articulator. Oh, I want that articulator. That looks so cool. It actually does nothing. It's just a graphic.
I know. That's the best
Ken
synthesizer component I've ever seen.
Yeah, total shite. Avoid.
It was.
It's a lot of snog then.
So Ken, what's worse, this one or the EMS ones that look colorful like this?
That's the wrong one. That's the one I want. That one there. Sorry. Okay, so that's that one. Next one, we talked about this last week or the week before when Kurzweil announced their new synths, and this is the K1000. It's not rare.
Yeah, those are great.
Stop saying it's rare.
It's not.
There's nothing rare about it.
It was the first thing I ever bought on eBay. It was broken.
There's plenty of these. So. There are plenty of these. Look at the price anyway. It's $550 US. There are literally plenty of these out there. It is on in eGay. Let's have a look at eGay. Here we go.
Yes.
Pretty good nick though, this one.
On it. Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's been gigged.
That one looks like it's whoa, am I
those are not speaker
drinking
grills.
too much,
they
guys?
Look like speaker
drinking
grills.
Too much,
they
guys.
look like speaker grills. But I always thought the case was funny because it looks like it has speakers.
Yeah, they don't have any speakers in them. I think they were just to stop it from overheating.
Yeah.
Ventilation, that's a good reason.
And because the board is so big, when I had the broken one, I was going to saw off the keyboard and keep it as a module. But I think the board is the majority of that upper part of the thing. You can't make a module out of it. So.
It's actually got a nice keyboard though. It's actually a very nice keyboard.
It's great. 76, yeah. Keyboard. Yeah.
They're a pleasure to play. It's just that the sounds are a bit.
It's heavy. It's quite heavy.
Yeah. The sounds are a bit.
Well, I mean, come on, it's early '80s, but it sounds good though for the time.
It sounded amazing in its day. Don't get me wrong.
And still holds up a little bit. Some of the pianos are okay and stuff.
Yeah, it was a go-to. definitely go to.
Choir
All
is
right.
good.
What else we got? Yeah, choir was quite unique. We've got this one as well. This is the Sultan Keytron Programmer. I don't even know what this is. So I may have shown this on the show before, but I've forgotten because I'm old and my memory goes. But this is this. If you're wondering, quite an eclectic looking thing, isn't it?
It's a Dutch company, right? Sultan? Is it a Dutch company?
Sequencer, organ, bass, arranger.
Those sliders are short, though, aren't they?
Anything with those little icons.
They're chunky
of drums,
sliders.
Icons
like a
of
boutique.
drums
Yeah, but
on,
short.
on the screen always puts me off.
Oh, anything that's got those little icons, is that what you're saying, Chris?
Yeah. It always reminds me of puller sounds and stuff like that. Dum, 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 dum,
Percussion graphics.
dum.
Let's get a job playing at a nursery home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, stop doing these photos. They're making me feel ill.
Is it the same?
I think it's the same seller.
Yeah.
But yeah, those sliders are so chunky. They are chunky as hell.
Look like mixing console sliders.
Anyway, that's
It's
the
like
Programmer
part,
24S.
CZ101 and part something else. So,
Wow.
What can you
No,
program in
really.
it? What are they saying in chat? No?
This has got drums.
Yeah. All right. What else we got? This one I thought was interesting.
Kent says it's the wrong sliders on it.
the wrong
That's
caps.
what I
knobs.
thought. They definitely look too
probably-
chunky.
Yeah.
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 The Godwin 32P. This is actually an Italian-made drum machine.
It sounds really familiar.
One of those.
Really
Drum
familiar.
maker.
One of those. Because you. In the day, you had organs, and you needed a drum machine to accompany it, and you'd pop this on top of the organ, and this has literally a whole bunch of drum sounds that you can make with it, and it does also arpeggiators and stuff like that as well.
Big
Apparently,
chunky buttons like Starburst candy. So
it is. It's kind of. It's
The
kind of
rhythm
like
section.
It looks like something military.
Well, doesn't have the little key that you turn and press to launch the missile.
I think if you did buy this, you'd have to get yourself a Persian rug for it to go with it. It looks like it belongs with the Persian rug, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Is
The
it
colour
is it
scheme.
coming with the bass pedals?
It looks like it does, yeah.
Yeah, it says bass there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How cool's that?
So it's pretty interesting.
I thought that was pretty interesting, that one. You're looking at 4,725 Australian dollars. It's on Reverb. So 2,000, what are we, 2,350 pounds, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It's a 32 pedal controller. Anything else in there that's interesting? He will ship it anywhere in the world. There you go. All buttons are working, all outputs are clean, LED screen works,
So it works with the key
potentiometer's cleaned.
Just no sound comes out.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, I just wonder if that was the last one. It was. So we had the Moog, the Kurzweil K1000, the Sultan Keytron Programmer, and the Godwin. What are you lusting after this week? These are all available, by the way. So, go. Nothing was that cheap, though. I think the Soltron.
No.
No. I won't say I'm lost in, but I'd be quite interested in the Godwin.
Yeah, I
Godwin
think it's a
looks
bit
cool.
pricey, that Godwin.
Oh no, the
Yeah, that's
Kurzweil
nice.
was the cheapest. Kurzweil was 550 bucks.
550.
Yeah,
I think we like the look of the last one.
I think
Yeah.
that one.
I think it was.
We need to see more about that,
Sorry.
don't we?
Yeah.
Go in. You go.
I think it was a Godwin organ. I think it was a. Ken might know, but I thought there was a Godwin organ that would probably go with the pedals and that drum machine. Back in the day.
Ooh. Tom Juno. Who knows Tom Juno? I'm going to play one of his videos.
No.
All right. Let's have
Basically, yes, Kent says. Yeah, thought so. String machines, says Robbie.
What is that thing on top of it? What's that? Is that a little keyboard on top?
Yes, that's cool.
That's the organ bit.
Yeah, maybe.
This is insane, this thing. All right. Someone remake this. This is insane.
Yeah. Behringer, are you listening? No. Hang on.
I'm not going to get excited about that, trust me. But it does look pretty eclectic. In the day, there was a lot of that sort of product floating about, wasn't there? There was the Korg mini pops, the Ace Tone. Was that the Roland name before? Ace Tone, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was Ace Tone.
I used to.
They had some
I
drum machines.
I can't remember what model it was.
Yep.
It's,
The old Donkomatic.
Donkomatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donkomatic.
Put a donk on it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So who's rushing out to buy a Godwin?
Old Rush.
Good name
Didn't sound that
good
great.
name
did
for a
it?
church roll.
I was going to say. It's the old groove box.
Yes. MC, yeah.
It just sounded like something to go with a cheesy Lowry organ or something like that.
So the thing
Exactly.
is, what
Exactly.
a lot of these things had string machines in them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were all some sort of Selena clone in them. Because a lot of those organ string machines, they sounded very similar. Some of them sounded terrible, which you knew that they didn't clone like a Selena properly. But the Eminent, it was my favourite, the Eminent, which is probably why Jean-Michel Jarre used it. Yes, right. Well, Ableton 11's back because Ableton 12 doesn't work on my computer anymore. Sorry, guys.
Well, at least it didn't uninstall it.
There it is there.
That's good.
So what we're going to do is... this is kind of a bit of an eclectic insight into one of my tracks, and I butchered it up to try and remix it. So obviously, originally it would have all been arranged. You can see it's all faded out there. So that's all the original arrangement. Grayed out, yeah. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to actually try and launch this stuff as clips. Give you guys a little listen as we go. I've got the APC Mini here in front of me, which I will attempt to use. All right, so why don't we clear everything? Where's my little clear everything button? All right, we'll start off with Muting All of Us.
Goodbye. Thank
There you go.
Sounds great.
There's a remix of, if you're wondering what that was Gate 16 or Stargate from the Gates album. And that's without all the ambient stuff that would have been at the start of it and the end of it. So that was kind of all the beaty part of it. The you know.
Yeah, I remember.
Still very ambient though. What do you guys think of that? Was that good?
That was good. I always like that beat. The way that it kind of, it's hard to identify where it came from originally. Yeah. It kind of sounds like it's got a fill in it, and every time that fill comes in, it sounds great.
Yeah.
It's something was found, I think.
So it's kind of it's kind of just layers, and your ears play trick on you when you're hearing different sounds, and they're sort of, you know, merging together. But if you were to separate them all out, they don't really sort of do anything magic on their own. That's right.
No.
Yeah.
So how many tracks
and remixing your own stuff?
Who was first? Sorry, I didn't see who was first.
Oh. You go, Darren. All right, okay. I just asked how many tracks you had there
on this particular track.
Yeah,
shitloads.
At least 20.
44.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there were quite a few one sound.
I'll get that down to 8
type things.
Yeah. Get to that day. But it's okay. So Stargate is basically 3 different sections. You've got the introduction, which is all just a cheesy sort of monologue thing going on, where I'm trying to paint a picture that people are about to take off on a rocket and going through a Stargate, and they get lost, and you know. Then you've got this kind of alien soundscape, which is very, very sort of spacey. There's no drums, there's no sequence to it. It's kind of just floats around. And then I have to bring in this part, which you just heard the remix of, which is the beady sort of, you know, sequenced part.
Chord progressions.
Yeah. And that's quite tricky, because you've got to then sort of, because that, if you ever listen to that track, it ramps up to the beat part and then it drops back out into that sort of spacey part again.
Has an ease
in
in it.
But this is
Husky
about
approves,
remixing your own things or your own music, because Ian doesn't like to do that. Am I right, Ian? Or you don't?
No,
do
I
that,
don't. I
probably.
mean, I have done it. I've done it occasionally, but I don't tend to do it now. I may have to.
I like to do it. I like to remix my own tracks sometimes, because you end up sometimes when you're remixing it, you start going off in a different way to when you're originally written the track, and you sort of think, oh, this is how this could have gone, and I quite like the way I'm going with it this time. I mean, I don't do it with everything. It's just like I bet you felt like, Ranzee, when you start remixing any of your stuff, you sort of you go off on a different tangent. You see a different way the track would have gone, because you're thinking your mood's different for a start, so you're writing in a different way. But yeah,
there was a part in that track that whenever I listened to it, I used to always go, oh, I like that little bit there. But if you heard it on its own, it kind of doesn't sound that good. It just sounds good with it, and it's kind of like this detuned sort of higher pitch thing that just sort of pans left to right as you're listening to it. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to play with that again. You know, it's one of those things, Darren, where you sort of like, you know, that was cool fun. I want to play with that again.
Yeah, see if it goes a different way.
Yeah.
And I like it when you get those like different tonal textures that run through, and they create a melody that you've not physically wanted to create, but because the clash in the track, and you sort of you can't grasp that melody to put it in another track, because it's just the way those sounds are actually hitting each other at certain times. And I like doing that when you find cool sounds like that, and the movement of the track.
One of the old tricks I did was with the alien voice. It's basically just a synth with a formant voice on it, and I'm just used a pitch modifier on it just to sort of make it sound like. And then what I did is I brought a second one in that's kind of LFO modulated at the same time, but at a different pitch. And so you're getting kind of like a fifth or I can't even remember if it's a fifth or a seventh, but anyway, you're getting a chorus, you know, between these two alien voices using formant filters, and it's kind of cool. It's good fun, and it doesn't. You know, technically it's just a synth voice, right? But it actually sounds like
an
alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love formant filters.
Bit of impromptu sales. If you're wondering, that's the album that it came off. It's called Gates, and Ian is the record label. Ian Sinner's Music. He was
buy it.
I'll show him in a minute. If you do want to know which track I just made a remix of, it's the last one on the album 16, which is Stargate. You can actually see it's a little Stargate picture. Look at that.
Yeah.
You can see that? There you go. And you can buy the CDs now, guys. The CD is available with a nice little sort of graphic on the CD. You like that? There you go. So the CD is available. I'm just gonna make them here for you guys if you order them. So
can I ask, Ranzee, are you making them yourself, or are you shipping them out to?
I'll make them myself here. Yeah.
And to be fair, that's what I've done in the past as well.
Well, in previous years, I've used CD Baby I think they're Canadian, aren't they? CD Baby. And I've ended up with boxes of CDs I'm just storing in the cupboard here, because it's not like I'm selling thousands of these things. So I'd rather just make them to order. And that way it's kind of more special. I can handwrite a number on each one. You know, you've ordered the first one.
What's the minimum order for CD Baby?
50, I think. I think it's 50.
50, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I've never done 50. I mean, it's like ridiculously priced if you did 50. Usually I do like 500 or something.
Right.
I was looking at purple vinyl for Rave Dave. He wanted me to do it vinyl. Wow. It was about £1,000.
Yeah, I looked at that. I looked at vinyl. Vinyl is nasty. The other thing that I've been doing in the past is I've been doing cassettes. Which I did with Significant Big, obviously, because that was the album cover.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to do any cassettes lately because I've got a Technics and a Pioneer cassette deck down here, which are really, really good quality, you know, beautiful playheads, everything from the 80s and 90s. But I need to buy new belts for them because they're starting to get a little bit old and stretched. So I might do a video on my channel for that. I think it's kind of interesting, replacing belts on cassette.
You should check out Tech. You should check out. You should check out the Techmon channel.
Yes, Techmon. Yeah,
Techmon is always replacing belts. Yes. He'll point you in the right direction.
He is. I replaced the belts on a mini disc recorder, which I think I put the videos up on my channel. It's not always as straightforward as you think, is it?
No. Because the thing with the cassette deck is your tape mechanism sits behind the front panel, right? When you take this thing out, it's a massive, huge, big 19-inch box with a bit of electronics inside. But to actually get into the actual tape mechanism, you've got to actually eject the eject door out so that the tape mechanism is actually released, and then you've got a whole bunch of screws that keep it all together, so that you can then undo those screws, and you have to pull the belt off the spindle and the fly arms. And it's actually quite tricky. And to do it, it's probably going to take a few hours to do, just to replace a belt on a tape deck. Yeah. So it's a labour of love thing. I'll probably just do like a high-speed video or something.
Yeah, Jane had a broken actual cassette, but it's of her family, her with her parents singing songs in the car when she was a kid. But the actual casing was broken, and I managed to replace the casing and take the actual tape out.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. Oh, it's a nightmare. Yeah, don't do that again.
So fiddly. Yeah.
No.
I mean, talking about nightmare jobs, the job I was doing today.
Together as well.
We've got this in our entryway in our house, just near our front door. We've got this pine cladding above the ceiling that's been, stained and estopoled or whatever over the years. The polyurethane, coating has all broken down and it's all flaking, and I've got to sand it all back. And I don't know if you've ever done a job where you're doing work like that.
Oh, it's hot.
it's literally like twice as hard as working down or that way.
Well, definitely wear glasses.
I'm wearing
Sometimes
goggles and I'm wearing respirator
and
as
a
well.
mask.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've learned the hard way. Not doing that. I'll just get up there.
So I've got 13 panels to do, and I've done 4 of them, and it took me an hour to do 4.
Oh.
Wow.
And it's just like really, really hard, like laborious work, and it looks like absolute dogs when you're walking out front door and you can see all this like crappy looking paintwork above your head. Looks like So I've got to get onto it. It's our house is about 16 years old now, so it's starting to give me these maintenance jobs now.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
How about
we had lots of that in our old house, which was 20 years old, and light switches started to go. So I spent most of last year replacing light switches and sockets.
Yeah, so that's weird. The plastic, the covers, they get they actually go yellow. The bromide in the plastic, you just chuck them out because it's not worth trying to fix it. But or you can paint them, I guess, which doesn't ever look good. Yeah. So we had that. How many years ago is that? Probably when the house was about 12 years ago. We went around and replaced all the light switch covers because they were all going yellow. And I remember building this house. I built this house, not myself. But I was involved quite closely in the whole purpose of it. And I remember I never got a choice from the electrician of what brand power points and light switches went in. And I heard because in Australia we've got this brand called Clipsal, which are an Australian brand. They're actually worldwide, well known, and they've got a really good name for themselves around the world. And the brand that I got was not Clipsal. And I remember about a year or two down the track having to do something with one of the PowerPoints and seeing that it wasn't Clipsal, and I was really pissed off because it was some Chinese made really, really crappy brand that they used. And this was a really high-end builder that built this house too. Yep. I hate that sort of stuff.
Annoying.
I mean, what we're finding in the UK is that newer built houses are not built as they were, say, 50, 60 years ago.
Oh, hell yeah, Ian.
I mean,
absolutely.
We're buying a house that's built in 1979, 1980. And actually, although it was a social housing, it's what's called an ex-council house. The build quality is actually better than our house that we moved from, which was only 25 years old.
I mean, this house is what we would call double brick, and it's 2-story, and the second story has a concrete slab and double brick again. But if you build a 2-story house now, they don't do the second story double brick anymore. They'll do a veneer setup where the external brick and then the internal is like a gyprock wall with a veneer.
All right.
So it's like they have lintels, and then they have the brick ties, and then they'll gyprock. What do you guys call it? Cladding or whatever it's called. Like the plasterboard.
I mean, a lot of this house we're buying is, I think it's double brick, or it's at least brick and block on the outside walls. So.
See, obviously, you guys. We had English influence to the way we built houses in this country.
Yeah.
And there's no need for this country to have double brick houses. It's it's really kind of stupid, to be fair, because we're quite warm here. But to be fair, on the other side of it, you've got that air gap between your two brick levels, right?
Yeah.
And that actually does create a thermal barrier between the external brick, because the way that they lay the brick, one is sitting on top of the slab and the other one is actually sitting on like another, it's like a different level down. It's still it's a footing, but it's a different concrete level.
It's a different footing, yeah.
So you get a thermal barrier with that air gap, and it's only probably about that wide. You could probably fit your hand in there. Scrape the crap out of your hand, but you could probably fit your hand in there. Yeah, I wouldn't, because there'd be redback spiders and stuff in there.
No. That's where they go. They go through the little vents that go through the brick walls.
Did everyone see my little post in Discord during the week? I thought that was quite funny.
Yes.
Yeah,
I saw it. Yes.
No,
I didn't. It wasn't me, but I thought it was funny because I'll put it on the show. I'll show you guys now.
It should say actual size. Put it that way.
It should, but I don't know why the person who took the photo decided to put a red arrow. I mean, it's pretty obvious that this thing is a massive spider on a sign. You don't really need the arrow. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this. You'll like this. So this is stuff that I do on Discord. If you guys are wondering, Discord, we run Discord during the week. It's basically an extension of the show. We talk about all sorts of stuff. In fact, a lot of the content that we get in the show comes from Discord and the things that we chat about, which is pretty cool. So please join. I noticed that Babs joined.
Babs,
Yep, this week, which is good.
Welcome.
Or today. Yep. So here it is. Here's the sign. I don't know why you needed a big red arrow to point to that massive spider on it. Where is Narrabeen? It is definitely in WA.
Yeah, it's definitely WA. Narrabeen.
Oh, okay. Now I know where Narrabeen is. It's in Margaret River. It's just north of Redgate. I know.
So
where
is that a nasty spider?
That is just a huntsman. So a huntsman
no,
they're not nasty. They'll bite.
No, some are.
They'll bite you.
It'll hurt.
Some
are poisonous.
But
No,
they prefer to
really.
eat cockroaches.
Maybe not in Australia, but there are some huntsmen.
Quite like that.
I think tarantulas are the poisonous ones, right?
Well, we have all kinds. We have brown recluse and black widows and all kinds of stuff that will dissolve your hand.
Oh, that
bite you.
Okay, so the brown recluse is probably one of the worst spiders in the world, and thankfully we don't have them here. We do have this thing called a white-tipped black spider, which is kind of like it's like this slender, long sort of little black spider that crawls around the house. It's one of those nomadic spiders. They don't actually have a web. They don't live in a little web. They just crawl around. They'll live in your clothes and things like that. And if you get bitten by one, you'll get like this ulcer in your skin, in your dermatology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes people don't ever get rid of it. It'll go and come back for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Ian, you're going to do an EMOM in Australia if he did one. I'm not. I'm going to stay.
Yeah. I'll go. I actually want to go to Australia. I will come to
It's
Australia
really
at
not
some
that
point.
bad.
And I'll try and get.
There's too
I'll
many
try and
things
get
out
to
there to
Perth.
kill you. You can't go in the ocean. You can't go on the land.
Put it this
I go
way,
in the
fact
ocean
that-
all the time. It's fine.
Yeah, it builds character, right? So
Yeah.
The fact that we take photos of things like that and share them is because they
We're not
actually
helping.
are kind of rare. Well, but it is because they are kind of rare to us as well.
Yeah. It's not that bad.
So
honestly,
I'm gonna have in-laws in Cairns. Cairns.
Cans.
Yep.
Cairns. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Think of what you put, your spaghetti on your toast from.
No,
cans.
it's in a can.
Yeah, cans.
It's
Yeah.
Cairns.
Yeah.
Cans.
I don't know why it's pronounced cans. It's not spelt like that, but that's just how it is. It's a bit
No,
like
it isn't. I know.
it's a bit like Canberra and Brisbane. They're just not spelt.
Yeah.
Sound like the way they're spelt. Yeah.
well, so we have islands
Apparently
off
people
Florida
are-
called Keys, but they're spelled K. So
yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, people
Yeah.
have troubles pronouncing Froome. Is it Froome or
As in Chris
Frome?
Froome.
It's Froome.
How do you spell Froome?
F-R-O-N-T.
Okay.
MT. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to be living, but people find it difficult.
There's a few places in the UK that have got kind of weird pronunciations.
Silent
Oh,
letters.
hey, York, I've told you, I might have said this before. York has got the shortest street in England, right? And apparently you can still beat your wife down the length of it. It's called Whitmer Gate. True story. Yeah. Really short street. Yeah.
Where are you
Of course, there's
from?
that district in Wales that's quite difficult to pronounce. 'cause
Oh,
it's
the
so long.
longest one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go.
That's an ankle slip.
Yeah.
The Welsh names are funny. I like the Welsh names.
Yeah, everyone goes to the railway station just so they can see the longest name.
well, in Madagascar, the words are like this long. They're off here, so just my fingers there.
Yeah.
Well, my ancestors are Welsh, so that might explain me a lot. If you think they're weird.
That's not a bad thing.
No, I love it.
Just remember too, like, I mean, that spider that I showed before, it's just a huntsman. They're pretty handy to have around, those spiders. They will get rid of
cockroaches.
Some of the most nastiest insects that you don't want.
Spiders in general are good. People shouldn't be killing them.
Yeah, I like spiders. Yeah, I used to when I lived in a bedsit. I had a spider in the corner with a web. Fantastic. Kept all the flies down in summer.
People also kill crane flies thinking they're giant mosquitoes, but the crane flies are doing good work. And people go, mosquito. And it's like, no, mosquitoes are this big, and then crane fly's huge. So.
Yes.
I just don't like them running around my house, inside my house.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
The thought of going to sleep with one somewhere nearby, it's like, what's going to do when I'm in the...
They will literally crawl over
your house. They're getting in, so...
I guarantee you they will crawl all over you. Well, they're pretty
agile. Yeah, spider bites once in a while. You get those little itchy bits. It's a spider bite.
Oh, yeah.
They get you while you're sleeping.
Well, that little white tip thing that I was telling you about before, I got bitten in between my little toe and the second toe in the webbing. I must have put my shoe on or something.
Yeah,
and it took about 4 weeks for the rash to go away, and it was smelly. Yeah. It actually stunk, and I didn't wear any shoes for. I wore like sandals for the whole time because I knew, and I kept putting antiseptic cream on it to sort of kill the infection.
They have hemotoxic venom. It actually dissolves the tissue.
Yeah.
So that's what creates the ulcer, and then it spreads and gets worse. So one of my friends got bitten by a black widow twice on his back, on his calf. And he had open sores for months.
Yeah, they will eventually go. They will eventually.
It took a long time though. His not healing very well at all. It's terrible. So.
Yeah, so you just don't want to get bitten by one of those. Look, 26 out of the 27 most venomous snakes in the world come from Australia. So yeah, snakes aren't good. But to be honest, where I live in Perth, we've got a couple of nasty ones here, the brown and the black. But I would not want to live in Brisbane. They're probably... You're more likely to come across a snake in your front yard and your backyard in Brisbane. That's just kind of the nature of that place. And they have massive spiders there. They have these things called... You guys should look it up. They have these things called the St Andrew's Cross spider. These things are like as big as my hand, and they literally they create this massive, huge net web out the front of you. You know, you could be walking out your front door and then you've got this St Andrew's Cross, and they're poisonous and they bite.
There's some big spiders that capture bats. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually eat bats. So
they eat small birds, and they're massive things. When I lived in Brizzy for a bit, I used to go walking around the city, and they've got this famous bridge in Brisbane called the Story Bridge. And it's kind of like this, metal bridge with, triangle shapes, and it gets yourself across the Brisbane River, basically. And you can go on these little sort of walk trails that go sort of up and down around the bank of the river, and they are everywhere. They are everywhere. It's like, wow, that thing is massive. Stay away. Don't kick your ball into the bush and then go get it or something like that. It's just come out with 50 of these things crawling over you. It's scary. It is. It's definitely nightmare stuff, Marky. I have, memories of this stuff, and it's not good.
We have relatives of that St Andrew's cross spider here. It's an argiope. Those are around here too. The orb weavers. Little zigzaggy pattern in the web.
Yeah. Yep. Golden orb.
Those are cool.
Yeah. We get the golden orb here, but they're not. I mean, they're pretty big, but they're not that big. They're more likely to be in the bush, aren't they, Chris? The golden orb, than the cities. You do get some in the cities, but
you see them if you go out bushwalking. You might come across an orb spider.
Yeah,
but we used to have. We had an orb spider in our backyard for a couple of years. Came back every winter. Yeah, no summer. Summer because you went outside and it was hot and there was a bloody great big web. Yes. Yeah. No.
You guys see snakes when you go out at all? Do you see them anywhere?
No, not in our area.
No? What was that?
Get snakes. You get them more down in
snakes.
Rockingham.
I have not seen a snake in the city where I live. I have seen a snake in the country, but not in the city. And they're definitely here. I live not far away from one of the big lakes in our city, and they've got tiger snakes, and there's signs everywhere that says stay away from the tiger snakes. They're venomous. You don't want to go near them.
They're quokkas. The snakes go after the quokkas.
Quokkas.
Quokkas, yeah, they're vicious. You don't trust them. They'll take your money, mug you,
Drop bears. Bunyips.
No, the drop bears are fine. You only get the drop bears in the eastern states, mate.
So anyway, I want to circle back to the synth show. So during the week, that wasn't me. That was him.
Not me.
I was announcing that we were back to synths.
Oh, okay. I got it now. Sorry, I'm a bit slow today. I wanted to pan my camera across to this nightmare corner, I'll call it at the moment, because it's a corner of the room which I've got to fix. So, do you guys remember I was talking about...
like my entire studio.
I was talking about how I want to put the keys in front of the ARP 2600, which I have, and at the moment it looks like a complete mess. It's because it is. Don't worry, it's going to be all sorted. I am thinking about... See how you've got those two Behringer modules there? I think the Pro 1 and the Model D. And then I've got sitting in front of me here, I got the Pro 800 and the Neutron. So there's 4, and what I'm thinking of doing, I'm just kind of get some ideas from you guys, because why have a synth show and not get ideas from you guys? I'm thinking about getting another one of those desktop 19-inch racks that you see on the left with the ARP 2600, and then mounting the 4 modules next to it. Do you reckon that would look good? If you're thinking about what would that look like functionally, it definitely would work. But if you're then thinking about what would that look like next to my modular, right?
That'd look great,
as opposed to the mess that it looks like right now. Do you reckon that would work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it would.
The only thing is that Nifty Keys does stick up a little bit, as you can see.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to lose a little bit of the bottom Behringer module, I guess. It's not going to be inaccessible, because you can still fit your hand in behind and everything. So, and there's nothing that sticks out the back of that Nifty Keys.
There's no way you could raise that frame.
I could, I could lift them up. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
But I'm trying to look at the eye level, right? So if I was to sort of
yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
The eye level of that, I don't want to. I mean, you guys probably can't tell, but that's actually the same eye level as the eurorack modules.
You're already at the max now.
Yeah, I don't really want to go any higher than that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, so what I was doing is I thought, this is probably not a bad idea to do. I was going to price it all up and work out, hey, how should I do this? And so the same brand 19-inch desk mount, it's a 12U if you're wondering, by the way, was about 120, 130 bucks Australian to get that through Amazon, which is probably around about the cheapest one you can get. Now, there is another one from Element 14, which I'll talk about later, but which is cheaper, but that one is actually specifically designed for the music industry, whereas the Element 14 one is designed for generic network type people. It's different.
Yep.
It's probably not built the same way either. Anyway, if I'm looking at getting all of those Behringer modules in, I think the wider ones like the Neutron and the Pro 800, they're 84 HP if I remember correctly, or 80 HP. And then the Model D is a 70 HP.
80 looks around about right.
Yeah.
I've got an 84 there in the Pro 800.
So I looked, this is like, are you sitting down, guys? I looked at the price of the little rack ears that you buy for those things, and the cheapest I could find was 50 bucks Australian for a pair of rack ears. And I thought, what are you kidding me? 50 bucks for a piece of bent metal with a couple of holes in it? Are you seriously kidding me?
You know what I did when I got stuff without rack ears is they sell that rack angle iron stuff with the holes pre-drilled in it in some music stores. You just buy the raw pieces and just cut it.
Yeah.
Or you can just make your own.
That's what I did.
Just make your own.
Yeah, I mean,
you can make your own, but I mean, they have it in music stores. Even sell it as just cheap strips that without the brand of Moog or something like that on it, and just cheap. You just cut it to fit.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't believe the price of the impalers, the angled impalers for putting panels in the corners. went in the last studio, and I think I paid £100 for 8.
Oh, for your acoustic
8
things.
bits of, yeah, absolutely stupid prices for what they are. You know,
consumables.
Yeah,
That's where they make their money. That's
So
where they make their profit.
I priced it up, and it was going to cost me, because another option was to actually get 4 of those 3U 19-inch Eurorack modules.
Yeah.
And then you can mount those Behringer modules in as Eurorack, and then you actually get HP that you can use as well.
For other things. Yeah.
But Behringer want quite a lot of money for that Eurorack module thing. I'm just trying to remember what it was again. 19-inch. $159 Australian for the. It does include a power supply though, because you're going to need a power supply. But the thing is, I'm going to end up with 4 power supplies, and I've already got a power supply for these. So it's probably going to be no. I'm not going to do that because 159
Can you
times
use the
4 is a
power
lot of
supply
money.
extenders they use for guitar pedals? Is enough juice to power off multiple, multiples off of one plug?
No, I'll plug them all into a power board. Using all the wall watts that they came with, and that way I don't ever have to worry about that stuff. Yeah, I know you can do that stuff, and
because they're over spec usually, so you can.
They are usually, but just give every synth module its own.
It's a good
power
thing when
supply.
you can.
Yeah. So I still think the cheapest way for me to do this would be the 12U desktop stand with the rack ears for those modules, and just use the power supplies that are built with it. And I'll just have to go without finding a little bit of HP out of it. I don't know. I don't really need it, to be fair. It was just kind of a nice extra thing. But yeah, $159 times 4 plus another $150. It's a lot of money just for like a stand, really.
Yeah.
What are the guys saying in chat? I know some people are saying you can get the angle bits and blah blah blah. I know you can definitely do it yourself. I don't have a metal bender here, a folder, whatever they call it.
Can you not screw rails in it?
Bending brake.
Do it that way.
Say that again, Darren.
Can you not, on your 19-inch frame, can you not screw some Eurorack rails across at the right distance apart, and then have it like a Eurorack fitting?
You can. You can buy the rail kits from places.
I thought you had some left over. That was all.
No, I don't have any left over. I bought exactly what I needed for my But you can. You're looking at. I think it was about $50 US from one that's you've got to have the. You've got to have the side bits that mount to the 19-inch, and then you've got to have your rails. And then the rails have got to have your threaded strip in, unless you go for the sliding nuts, which I don't want. You go with the threaded strip. I mean, I guess you could do sliding nuts, but I just don't like it.
Makes you feel dirty when you get them.
The ones I bought were just Housse. I think it was Housse brand pre-drilled rails. I just used a hacksaw to cut them to fit. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about 19-inch. You're talking about the 19-inch rails.
19-inch rack. Is that what you want?
No, because so with these,
you're trying to stay within your rack.
No. I mean, you've got 2 options. So with these, you've got. Let me just go to the overhead cam.
So you can either attach.
With these, you can attach something to the end here,
just to the
right?
side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or you can take this out
the whole front panel
and mount it as a Eurorack module.
As a Eurorack, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the 2 choices. If I did the Eurorack, I've got HP, but then I'm looking at $159 per
adapter.
3U, 84 HP each one, minus a little bit of HP for the power switch, and I don't know how much height if you put one of the, I'll show you the Behringer one, right?
Yeah, if there's any gap between them when you mount.
Because then if you're losing a bit of HP with the height, that could be a problem too.
Yeah.
So is the Neutron the same width as the Crave and the Edge?
Not the Crave, because
it should be much wider. Yeah,
Crave is flat.
Yeah.
Right.
Completely different form factor, the Crave.
I don't have a... I've got an Edge, same thing though. But they're flat, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
Right.
So they're a different format. They're not even mountable Eurorack.
Yeah,
Edge and Crave are the same chassis. Yep.
Yeah.
What was I doing? 19-inch Eurorack. Hopefully it will take me to their website.
By the way, what's the rack you have the 2600 in? What is that?
It's a... I think it's like a Housse or Sound... I don't know, one of those brands. I got it off of Amazon.
Okay. Right, okay.
It's 12U if you're wondering. Anyway, so this is just one of the retailers in Australia. Just so remember, this is Australian dollars, guys, not US.
Yeah. That's the one.
That's the Eurorack 19-inch, right? So, I mean, I wanted to go to the Behringer website, but if I was to do that, over there, back there, right? Let me just move that camera again so you guys can see. So, see how the 2600 is in like a stand? Imagine there'd be 4 of these in the stand that's the same as the one that 2600 is in next to it. And then I would have some HP next to the Model D because it's only 70 HP. But I think those other modules would probably take up their...
Pretty much the whole thing.
Pretty much the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you take into account the power supply.
Yeah.
If you even use it.
Yep. And then, like I said, I'm looking at $159. I could probably get it cheaper.
Each one, yeah.
For each one, plus the rack. It's expensive.
That's great. It's crazy because that's the same price as the whole case.
There has to be a better way of doing it.
In those cases, Behringer cases are...
Plus... So we're looking at $800 Australian, £400. Nah, that's way too expensive. That's how much it cost me to make both of my Eurorack modular cases. I mean, minus the labour, of course. Nah, not doing that. That is a no. Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
Can you get the same thing and put the 2600 in and put those modules on that? Just another frame.
No, that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get that, but that thing is basically just an empty. It's got little holes down the side. I'll show you it.
Yeah, it's got the square holes with the nuts and
because they have
good stuff.
This is what I designed with it. Their rails fitted at an angle of about 45 degrees maybe.
Yeah.
For where the 2600 fits. So that's like what Ranzee's getting in a way, but I've built it myself, so it's a rack sitting that way.
Yeah.
And you're wanting to put them in like where this gap is here. So there's 19-inch rack across here. Yeah. You're wanting to put them in there. For instance, I'm trying to think how I would have done it without getting.
I'm going to check down in my shed, Rants, because I've got a whole lot of 19-inch right angle things that I
it's cheapest
salvaged from one of our old workplaces. So it may or may not work.
I can't find the one that I
always go down that DIY route.
There are different brand ones, but they're all about the same price, $120 Australian. But the one that I bought is not here for some reason. It's weird. Not on Amazon anyway. 12 19-inch desktop. They're not necessarily desktop though, are they?
So that's the thing about the Behringer ones, is that they almost look like you're still. I guess because they're attached.
Well, they're in a boat like the Moog Mother 32 stuff is. So
why can't I find the one that I literally bought?
Because I had one years ago.
Not making them anymore, maybe.
This is it, but it's not the brand. It's not the brand I got. But this is pretty much it here. This one on the right.
Okay. So it's
I had one of them.
So see, Andy, see how it's got
angle.
Yeah, right.
See how it's got the holes down vertical.
Yeah, I have one similar to that for some of my 19-inch rack stuff. I have it on top of my rolling cabinet. So.
So they're just tapped holes, are they?
Yeah, so that's pretty.
Okay.
Each one of those hole, you get. I think it's 1 U. So each one of these hole distances is 1 U. So there should be 12 of these.
Yeah, so if you got that already, you already got the modules already. You just get the angle brackets, and it's super cheap.
Mm.
Well, that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to work out how to get. Like, where can I get those without having to spend $50 for a pair of Behringer ones, which just seems really, really over the top, just for a bit of metal.
Yeah, if you can't find them at a hardware store, just Housse. I know Housse sub because that's why I bought mine. I just hacked them with a hacksaw to fit.
So what were they called? 19-inch Housse.
Rack ears or rack rail, something or other.
Rack ears.
Rack ears sounds right.
Yeah, it's usually rack ears, but that's usually cut to a length.
See, every time I look for these, they're all $50, and I just think that's ridiculous.
Or find a cheaper brand or something.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. But anyway, that's my idea, and I'm just thinking that'll sort of neaten up that corner, and I want to spend time down there. I don't want to sort of You
don't want it to be unpleasant to be there.
It's unpleasant at the moment, that's for sure. But I actually want to use my 2600 more.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing.
When I was doing my album, I was like literally I was going down there, mucking around, and then coming back here, pressing record, going back down there, blah 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 blah, and it was kind of a little bit sort of, annoying that way. What I want to do is I kind of want to just wheel my chair down there and stay down there. And if I want to record, I could probably just, take an iPad down there and remotely trigger Ableton or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is easy to do. So one of the things is when you guys end up with a bigger studio like this, it's not huge. I'm not saying this is huge or anything, but it's about 4 meters square. It's this room. You can't sort of sit in one space and just reach everything and you're fine. You've got to actually move around, and when you're moving around, you find yourself like with your headphones, for example, you're pulling your headphone cable,
jacking and unjacking
around. Yeah. Who does that? Who's got their headphones stretched all around their studio space, or are you worried about that?
I frequently get tangled up in those kind of things, especially when I'm streaming.
Yeah.
I have straight cables.
Chris is the same as me.
Curly cable.
My studio that's small. I don't get it pulling tight. I just end up with it wrapping around me because I'm turning around on the chair, turning around this way.
Yeah. Oh, I've had that, and for some reason it always gets underneath the casters on the chair.
The legs, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, no. Yeah. How's that happen? How does that happen?
They gravitate towards them.
Yeah.
It's like they're cable eating machines.
I have headphone extension cables, but I don't have any curly ones. They're all straight ones.
I've started suspending cables from above, from the roof. Not literally from the roof. I've got some rails.
Oh, you've got that rod thing that goes across.
Yeah, it's called a polecat in.
And then you push, and it pushes out. And
it's actually got a huge big spring in it.
Yeah,
and actually pushes, and it's got suction cups.
They use them for curtains, don't they? Is that a curtain one?
No, that's actually a homemade polecat that I made for filming, putting up lights. But it's basically based on a pool cleaner, one of those big pool cleaners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Telescopic, so it's the right length.
So I went over. We went over and looked at our new house on Tuesday this week. Yeah, and I went around the studio again, and I thought, actually, it's much smaller than I thought it was going to be when I first saw it back in.
Yes.
It's bigger than what I had, so that's a good thing.
Upgrade's good.
It is bigger, but it's not as big as I thought it was.
Yes, exactly. You have to you're going to have to curb your.
Is that where you're going to be doing your shows from?
CA
when you move in?
Yeah.
Is it in the same? Is it inside the house, or is it a different building?
No.
It's an outbuilding.
It's an outbuilding built in 2019, actually. So it's fairly, it's a nice space.
Kind of what Kent's got, is it?
It's not as big as Kent's room, because Kent's room actually, when you're in there, is much bigger than it looks like on telly. But Kent's setup is really nice. He's got a big curved screen. You know, looks fantastic.
I remember when he was setting that up. It's a while ago now, but yeah, it was good sort of.
Hey, Ranzee, I had a quick look. See the link I sent you. I think that will work, but they're pretty cheap. $15. You just have to size them yourself.
How did you send it to me? Email?
Oh, it's in the chat. It's in the chat.
In the chat. Oh,
I tagged your name.
YouTube. Okay.
Oh, I see. And we can look
or something like that. Anyway, they're not always expensive.
How would that work though? Because these things need to be mounted from the side, right?
Yeah. it's right angles. They're too long, so you'd have to cut them. Because they're probably meant more for servers. These long ones, so you just cut them with a hacksaw.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't think they come out far enough. I think they're too skinny. Does that make sense?
Could be. I mean, it's hard to say with some of the stuff on Amazon. Some is server rack based, and some is more standard rack.
It's the same dimension.
Yeah, I looked at these, but okay. So if you look at the Behringer ones, they
follow the profile of the case.
They flare out more.
They flare out, so you might have like that much metal, whereas that you've shown me is only that. So you probably need
I know
to.
what you mean. Yeah.
So it's all right. I'll find them, but I just thought I'd run it by you guys to see where I'm thinking along the right lines, what to do or not.
That's about what I paid for mine that had the holes in them. They were about $15-20, and I got long pieces and I just cut them.
I literally threw out a whole bunch of network gear about 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mistake.
Because you're never going to need that again, are you?
No,
you're never going to need rack again.
But it was sitting. It was sitting in my garage, and it was growing redback spiders in it. So I thought, no, I'll get rid of it. But now I need it. No, it's all right. It's fine.
I saved a couple of skinny server racks from work when the building was downsizing, and so I could do a whole Wagyu thing if I wanted to with a bunch of racks going up. But I haven't done it yet.
His roof, I haven't seen him today actually. His roof is held up by his modular rack gear. It's
now structural.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does chin-ups from it. So yeah, the other thing too is on I've still got some stuff that I'm trying to get rid of, so I might as well plug it because it is my show. So head on over to ranzee.com, and then if you click on shop on my Reverb store here. Now, one of the things is that some people say to me that they don't get all these things that they're seeing me show. So if you guys pause the video right now and take a screenshot of that, and you're not seeing it, let me know, and I'll make sure it's available in your country,
in your region.
Because I'll tell you the reason why it may not show in your country is because I have to make sure the shipping is perfectly priced, because I don't want to be left holding the financial baby of some of these exuberant shipping prices that we have to deal with. I think I mentioned to it last week when there was a guy who I shipped something to, and he was complaining that I didn't double box something. Mate, if I double box something, you're going to pay for it, because because shipping is based on weight and volume. So volume is height, length, and width. So it's the cubic centimeter volume of the box, right? So if I double box something, it's going to make that item bigger. And
but you're getting rid of a phaser. I thought you liked phasers.
That one I don't need.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not very good?
No, it's great. I just don't need it. Yeah.
His phasers bases are covered.
I actually sold this Impulse, all right? And then the guy didn't pay, and it literally just went back onto the listing again. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, any of that stuff. Now, the other thing is I'm going to be listing, I said this last week, I'm going to be listing a bunch of more stuff on here. There'll be a rack brute, a Behringer Go case, and there's a bunch of stuff sitting in the corner here which I haven't listed yet. Like the Motu 8-port MIDI rack mount thing, which I never use ever since I got my MRCC. There's a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there that I'll list. So there's probably going to be about another 5 or 6 items on there. But the easiest way to find that is just click on that link from my my website. Now, a couple of things I want to mention is, and then we'll go to Chris and he can show his module off. Couple of things, right? So reverb. My experience with reverb is now as a seller is now. I've done 2 massive waves of it. So the first wave was about this time last year, and the second wave this time this year, and both times have been 100% fine. I've never ever had any issues at all with anyone.
Yeah, I use it all the time. I love reverb.
So you do pay extra for reverb. You pay quite exuberant fees, and they only use PayPal, which absolutely pisses me off because PayPal take a slice out of everything you use.
Yeah.
And
Especially
reverb don't get
currency.
any kickbacks on it either. It's just annoying. There's one thing I do like about eBay, and eBay actually will deposit money directly into your bank account, and it doesn't cost you anything. And that is a good thing about eBay. But I wish reverb did that, and maybe they just aren't big enough to do it. I'm not sure. But having said that, if you guys have got gear and you're thinking about moving it on, I do recommend reverb. Click on that link on my store, and you can set yourself up a reverb account. I do get a little commission, but that commission will go back towards paying for things like keeping the Zoom calls running on the show and stuff like that. So do bear that in mind. It is an affiliate link. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is that anything that you buy, I get, if you click on that link, I get another $1 given to me from reverb, which is very, very petty sort of. We're talking like chump change here. So that does go towards helping me out as well. Other than that,
I mean, I do with reverb on a monthly basis. I don't sell huge amounts on reverb. It's mainly on YouTube, but my experience is generally really, really positive. The only thing, be careful of people wanting to buy things from you and then not use PayPal.
Yeah,
because they're scamming you.
Yes. Do it through the system.
I've had 3.
Yeah, do it directly through the system.
Don't do any of that sort of business because they'll
actually they won't let you. The emails will. Sometimes your emails will get pulled, especially on eBay as well. If you don't use the official system, they will block your emails because you're trying to send emails and phone numbers to people.
So there is one scam that came across my desk, and it did happen through my reverb channel. So this is literally a screenshot of what it came. You can actually see it's my Radial Pro 48 that they've made an offer on. So if you look at it, it's probably a little bit hard to see, but my Pro 48 usually was listed for 126, and this guy's offering me more.
Yeah.
Right? But then if you look at this, it's got a link which says you have to click on this to perform some sort of simple verification, and you can see that it's just a dodgy auth-reverb.com, right? You can see
that's almost identical to one I got on Etsy.
Yeah, so
they don't even discriminate.
They're real,
service.
so do just watch out for them, guys. Like what gave that away to me was someone making an offer for more than what the actual price was. Now it's not unheard of. Apparently that people do that. But then looking at someone asking you to click on a link, or like Ian said, someone asking you to not pay through PayPal. I know I absolutely hate paying fees through PayPal, but there is one major benefit with doing business through PayPal, and that is that you're semi-protected. I'm not going to say you're protected because that's not really true. You're semi-protected to a degree.
Slightly better.
The moment that you start going off the main, system, that's when it all sort of falls apart.
I mean, you have 30 days usually to take care of a problem, and I've had problems that got taken care of because I used the system.
Yeah.
So it works.
Yeah. I mean, when I bought that the guy reduced it because we were having issues,
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go across to Chris. He's going to show off the VCZ.
VCZ.
Ooh.
This is, by the way, for those playing along at home, this is a feedback modules module. Chris, just before you get started, I actually got a phone call from DHL
Did you now?
They wanted to know if I'd received the package.
Oh God!
And I said no, I haven't received it yet. So obviously, do you know how I showed it was stuck in like Milan in Italy or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It still shows that it's stuck in Milan in Italy. So there's obviously something gone dodgy with that box. Anyway, continue.
Yes, well, it's unfortunate for him, I guess. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off mic a bit here because the mic's very soft and I'm going to walk away from the mic a bit. But anyway, we got the... I want to show if... I might just get some better light on this to show a few things. Just want to show the Rant.
Notice this has got the dial right in between those lights. It's that VCS3 style where you've got the... When you actually move this, you can actually feel a mechanical click as well. It's very, 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 very subtle. And you've got the sort of the outer and the inner dial.
Like a vernier kind of thing?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Now, Rance, before we were wondering what that little black thing at the top is.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side, it's it's a lock.
Yeah, I thought it might be. Which is really cool. Hello.
That is very cool.
Behringer, put them on your System 100 modules.
We like locks. So what I was playing with
That's actually really genius, isn't it? You can lock your tuning. You can't knock your tuning now. Well, you can knock that top left one, can't you, I guess?
So that one you can't lock that one, unfortunately.
So you could knock that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's still kind of a missing part of the equation. I think I've got it coming through the triangle wave output at the moment, which actually has this funky wave shaper, which I quite enjoy.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Especially
Did you build those other modules yet?
No. That's just going to be a bit of a long-term project.
Fair enough.
Only because I've got a backlog of eurorack cases and power supplies.
No, of course, fair enough.
I'll try and give an example of okay, so that's the so that's pretty much PWM.
Yeah. Does it go to completely off, or is it sort of within 5%? I think it's within 5%, yeah. Which would probably have been what the VCS3 was like.
I'm just trying to search for my modulation.
Oh, you got a pulse going into that?
And the mix output. It's just a mix between them.
Oh, okay, I see what you're doing, yep.
There's a missing batch cable.
There it is. Stick that in. Now you need to attenuate that a little bit.
Yeah, I've run out of attenuators. I need to build more.
Yeah. Have you seen that one that Ben uses? That's inside, like it's in the cable. It's really handy.
I'll pull mine out. Mine are the same. They're in the cable.
Yeah. That's a really nice sounding oscillator.
There you go.
I actually really like that.
Zero.
That's got quite a unique sound to it.
See, Behringer, that's what happens. You turn off the effects afterwards.
Let's listen to the raw oscillators with effects.
I can't believe they actually said raw oscillator. That's so funny.
Yeah. Such a fail.
Go back to sine. I'm gonna do some fast modulation of filter to show you how the fine control allows you to tune it. Of course, we're doing a demo, so it doesn't work.
You could always pull those knobs off, Mac, and put skinnier ones on. Starting to get pretty crazy now, isn't it? So there's a bit of AM going on there.
Yeah.
So every one of those little tiny little lines on that oscillator, that actually is a subtle little click, isn't it? Have you noticed if it's actually clicking to where the line is?
It feels, to me, to be honest, Rant, it feels completely smooth to me.
You didn't feel the click. There's a very, very subtle mechanical click to it.
I could quite feel a click.
Need to be less violent with it, more gentle. So, just to remind people, what you're listening to is the VCZ3 oscillator from Feedback Modules, and this is based on the VCS3 oscillator. So we're talking about the synth, the synthy, the famous Jean-Michel Jarre. Your filter's going nuts right now.
Yeah, I tried. Oh, by the way, that's the Night Rider. I can put it through that in my image.
Oh yeah, I can see that just slightly to the right there. got a real bite to it, that oscillator, hasn't it? Have you scoped it up yet?
Yeah. Sorry, have a what?
Have you scoped it up?
Yes, actually, I was. Let's fire it up now.
Does it have a little peak on? You know what I mean?
It
like
has
that,
it has little. It has little waggles all over the place.
Little waggles. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing like a bit of a waggle in the morning or in the evening. What do you think, Daren? Would you waggle it?
I'd waggle it.
And wonky it.
Keep that away from the purple monster.
Yeah.
That'll be straight off. If it's purple,
You could change the light colour in that to purple. It wouldn't be that hard to do. You're getting some questions. What are the outputs? As the original only had 2 and they were different waveforms on each of the 3. Yeah, you get 2 different oscillators, half god, half beast. There's actually 2 different ones you get. There's an A and a B.
Yeah,
this is the B.
Which has the shape control. The other one doesn't have the shape control. It has the triangle wave and the square wave and a mixture of the 2. It has
Hey, Chris, you need one of those headlamps.
Yeah. We're looking at you holding that light, mate.
Sorry.
You just gaffer tape it to your head.
Yes, I know. I always feel sort of embarrassed to faff around and set things up while people are watching the stream, but I should learn to just not.
Don't be embarrassed, man. Just get on with it. We're loving it.
Is that any better?
I mean, this is us, Chris. We're all we're all sitting here like this,
just hanging out.
Hanging out. Yeah.
Hanging out on a Saturday afternoon.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a cup of tea coming shortly.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
This is going well.
Chris is preparing something for us, guys, so just hang in there.
It'll be a bit like the thing when he pans back to everybody, we'll all be sat there.
Kind of, yeah. Food and see stuff, can't we?
Yeah.
So the upper corner is the coarse, and the center one's the fine tune. And where's the other tune for the other oscillator?
There's only one oscillator. It's a single oscillator. And
so 2 waveforms.
The both waves. Yeah, it's a dual wave output.
Right. Okay. Right.
I really like that envelope.
What's the bottom right knob next to the light ring?
That one there, that's the FM amount.
Yeah. FM, okay.
Yeah, so if I've got goes down here, I'm going to take the triangle wave out of this and see
Settle down, Robbie.
Nice.
It's been music the whole time. What are you talking about? This is number 1.
Is he kicking off? Let me go back and look at what's.
This is number 1 on the Eurorack charts already. I can just see it.
I mean, a little bit of this sounds like 9 Inch Nails stuff, so.
Yeah.
So it is musical.
Hey,
I was reading about.
Could put it out.
I was reading about Trent the other day. Trent Reznor. Apparently, he's been sober for 23 years.
Really?
Wow. Yeah.
Good on him.
And he used to be really like full on in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Well, I visited his neighborhood once. He lives near Anne Rice, who writes all those vampire novels and stuff.
Oh wow, really?
In this area of New Orleans.
Oh, put some effects on that.
He used to live there.
It sounds pretty cool. All you need now is a pin matrix, Chris.
Yes.
How much is that oscillator?
Let's have a look.
Like 150 or 200 or something like that?
It is the B with the funny knob is €210, and you can get a version without the funny knob, which is €170. So it's literally the same sound, just that you don't get the special VCS3 style knob. Yeah. The envelope that he's using is the ENV100, and that is not on this page. There's a pot sale. The envelope is €60, the one he's got next to it, the ENV100.
Turn the slew off on that thing, it jumps around the different multi-mode filter banks. I forgot how I patched it.
What does the book look like now?
Get a pure out, but nothing. Sorry, watch your ears. Oh, we're getting farts now.
Yeah, nothing like a bit of raspberry.
Get the scope set up.
God, if I had to listen to Schubert's Symphony No. 2, I think I'd want to stab myself in the ear. I'd rather listen to this.
Bearing in mind that I can't bring up the scope because it uses the same HDMI input I'm showing the camera on. Will it reach?
now he's showing the waveforms out of the oscillator.
Let's get rid of that.
You want to take all the modulation out of it though, so you're just showing the raw sounds. But just quickly seeing that, there was definitely a little peak on it, which is what I assumed it would have. So is this the triangle or is this the pulse wave?
This is the triangle wave.
Okay, because it's kind of almost pulsy.
We're a triangle.
Yeah, we got a triangle, but see that little peak down the bottom? See how it slopes?
Yeah.
That's what's giving you that buzzy sound, I reckon. Yeah, right there. That little sort of notch in it. Look at that. Whoa. Zoom in on that sucker. No one would ever know, but yeah, that's probably what's giving it to you. That's a really nice sounding pulse.
It's the big sound. Now I know why I was getting confused. This is the triangle.
Look at that little sort of, that little peak there. It's got a little ramp on it. Interesting. I love how your scope is touchscreen. I would love it.
Very handy.
Yeah, because sometimes you just don't want to. You don't have a hand to turn a knob. So you got that little sort of buzziness coming out on the side of that too. Bit of interference on it.
Everyone's seen one of those.
Yeah, so it's doing a 5%. So it's not completely closing off.
But when you give it CV, it does.
Okay, interesting.
On that range. Yeah.
Interesting how it forms its triangle. Cool, man.
Those multi-turn mods were those multi-turn pots were designed by people who use oscilloscopes, obviously.
Yeah. Lovely.
There you go. And there you go. That didn't go nearly as well as it did this afternoon.
It's that famous meme that we showed where you have an idea about what you're going to record and then you go to record it and it always sounds worse when you had the idea.
It definitely does. Oh.
Thanks for showing us that, mate.
I know.
Well done, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Tea's arrived.
What kind of tea is it, Ian?
It's Focus. It means nothing, does it? It's I don't know. It's called Focus, and it's
herbal tea.
It's like a twig tea, as I'd call it.
Yeah.
I just had a look, Chris, at my tracking, and it's now back in Bucharest in Romania.
Oh, so it's returned. Well, that does sound like it's definitely been picked up by DHL.
Yeah.
As a failed routing.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I wonder if it's might be quite a decent sized box, considering that my four modules or something came in a huge box.
I don't know, but some bugger's got himself a whole bunch of feedback module stuff. Unless it's literally gone back to him. Unless that's
I
the
reckon
case.
it has. I've seen stuff do that. So one thing I was told about couriers is that it's never lost. It's just somewhere where they don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
It's like
That's
sometimes
true.
they just go, we thought it was here, but then it turned out it was there, but then we couldn't get it here. And basically we worked out how much money we were spending tracking this thing down. We'll just give you the insurance cost.
I just thought it was funny that they rang me to ask me if I'd received it.
I know.
And I'm like, I'm just thinking, right now, I am the difference between a yes and a no, right?
Yes.
It's literally a binary response. It's either a yes or a no. If I said yes, I'd received it, then everything would be fine. They'd all be happy then, and they would just
exactly
mark
how
it
it
as
works.
being delivered. But because
I wonder if
but I'm being honest. I didn't receive it.
Yeah.
But when I told them that the tracking says it's still showing us it's stuck in Milan in Italy, they didn't say anything. They were like literally, you know how when you have a conversation, someone diverts.
as if you hadn't said it.
Yeah, she
Completely
diverted.
one in ear and out the other.
She diverted
In
to
other
something
words,
else.
She was already thinking about Plan B. You were telling her information that she already knew, and she say, "I know," because that would be rude.
The thing with our house, the thing is, if we ever get a courier come, we know because the cameras record.
The security, yes.
Yep.
Yes, it's a good thing.
And it doesn't matter where we are. We get little notifications on our watches and our phones and things like
Does your
that.
dog go nuts too?
Nah. She's my dog.
She's
You've seen Bonnie on the show before.
Yeah.
She's
She snores.
literally she snores. I'm gonna have to take her to the vet. I think there's something wrong with that.
Oh,
It's getting worse.
yeah.
But anyway, we took her for a walk the other day, and I think we only walked about 1.8 k's, which is not very far. And she was panting like she was about to have a heart attack. It was really, really bad. Like it took her about an hour to get over it. It wasn't that hot. It was about 30 degrees. So, I think there might be something up with her. She's snoring heaps. Like she snores through the day as well now, as well as the nighttime. So we think that there might be
a doggy CPAP.
I think it might be a heart issue, which is common with that breed.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Oh, well, good
Right.
luck.
Yeah,
Hope
I
it
know.
works out.
Little
Pets,
bugger.
what can you do?
But she's she's a Cavalier, if anyone's wondering, King Charles Cavalier. They are like the most docile dogs you can get pretty much on the planet. They're pretty much a lap dog. If you ever wanted a dog that just didn't hardly do anything, get one of those. But there is some really, really bad issues with health-wise with them, and we're seeing it. Heart and
So many
respiratory and
so many breeds have problems in them, don't they? Because they've been bred so engineering breeding. If you know what I mean?
Inbreeding, yeah.
Well, not
We'll be right.
yeah,
I'll give you guys an update next week if anything sort of changes. Cool. Right. Well, pumpkin time, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, full night's work there.
We managed to get the module in. We did the jam.
Did quite well.
We did all the news.
Cram packed.
Got the poll to work this week properly. See?
That's very good.
What's not professional? And we didn't have anyone whinging about our audio levels this week, so
No,
I don't know what was the deal with that last week. It was weird.
even though
We haven't had a rant for a while
Softer
either. We need to have a rant at something soon, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
Don't we?
Been
We
several
could do
times
with a
already.
rant. We could do with a rant.
I
Rant
ran
about the rack gear is not included with your modules.
Yeah.
I seriously think that's a really good point, Andy. You know, you might be laughing, but that is actually a really good point.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Because it became a premium thing. It used to come with your racks, and now it's a premium thing. I got to pay extra for that.
This came with rack ears.
Yeah.
Right? If it's good enough for that great British company, if it's good enough for them, why is it not good enough for Behringer? And that thing wasn't expensive either. That's probably a similar price to a Behringer product.
Well, didn't the Deep Mind come with rack ears as well?
No. I got a keyboard version. Why would it come
the
with
desktop version. Oh, yeah, sorry. The desktop version comes with rack ears.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That one.
Not sure.
But that's the reason I had to go source my own ears, because I bought used stuff that didn't come with it. Someone took them off, didn't include it. Otherwise, it would have been there.
Yeah.
So.
I've kept all my rack ears from my old gear.
Irrational social fear. Great question. I mean, you saw what the module looked like. Chris was just demonstrating it before. It probably would have looked very interesting on a X-ray scan. I don't know. But the guy describes what they are. They've got whenever you send something overseas, there's this international code that you've got to assign to things, and if it's musical equipment, you know, it's
tell me.
Eurorack does not look like musical equipment at all.
No,
it looks like test equipment. So
looks like a bomb.
It does. It
you should see when I go through the security checkpoint at the airport, all the wires and all that other shit in the bag. They'd be blow the plane up.
Like even a synth module like that, that looks kind of weird to someone who doesn't know what they're looking at.
Didn't James?
I don't mind
Jim,
cause an international? Yeah, sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
He did cause an international incident on with Robbie going to Super Booth.
Yeah,
didn't go. That must have been interesting times.
How many people have walked in this room and gone, "What's that?" And I'm pointing at the Eurorack.
Oh, you mean tradies and stuff?
Yeah. I'm pointing they're pointing at this here. They're going, "What's that? What's that?"
I don't run a telephone museum. It's old-timey operator stuff. So.
Anyway, we must go. Nice to have everyone. Nice to have Chatties. Awesome to have you guys on the show as usual.
It was fun to be here.
Thanks, Daren, Andy, Ian, Chris, and anyone else.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Thanks, Ranzee.
Thanks, guys. Toodoo.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks, all.
See you, Daren.
Bye. See y'all.